Greetings, stowaways. This episode comes with a content warning for teeth and body horror. Thank you, and enjoy the show. Greetings and salutations, and welcome to Flintlocks and Fireballs, where a handful of mad actors will attempt to survive the treacherous waters of Dungeons and Dragons. I am your host and Dungeon Master, Jason Phelps, and I am joined, as ever, by Robbie Centaur Centurion Bellekom.
Ooh.
Sam Knight Satyr Burns.
Wow, that's new.
And Ellie Lemurian Legionary Sparrow.
What's the Lemurian?
Wow.
I mean, I'm going
mean?
with Lemurian in the sense of the Lemures, which in D&D sense is one of the lowest ranks of, I think it's devils. But,
Devils, yeah.
But along with the the larvae were a class of very low-ranking household spirit for the Romans.
I did not know that last bit.
That's fun.
Yeah, Laras and Lemuras. Yeah.
That'd be a good podcast name.
Laras and Lemuras.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
It's just a handful of really, really low-ranking demons trying to... Wait, that was that... we did a one-shot
we
with
did
that.
We did that. We've done
It's
that.
3 demons in a
Go
trench
listen.
Three
coat.
demons in a trench coat.
Go listen to it. It's good.
I don't know if we did that as a one-shot. We certainly did that with Murder of Mephistopheles.
Yeah, we didn't do 3 demons
Yeah,
in a trench
yeah, no.
coat.
Yeah.
3 demons in a
Yeah.
trench coat was an off-air one-shot that we offhandedly did once because
Which was a lot of fun.
we were all
my
feeling,
birthday or
we
something.
were all feeling a bit loopy
Yeah.
and it was your birthday and you were like, I'm not going to prepare at all. Let's do a one-shot. It was fun.
Yeah.
It was really good. It
It
was
was.
great.
As promised, they
It was
played
real
3
chaos.
demons in a trench coat.
It was real stupid.
Which was the...
It
That
gave
was
the
the
world
birth of Dretch.
Dretch.
Yeah, I was going to say, it was
which
the
is why
origin
you've
of
connected
Dretch.
them.
Yes.
Like, Dretch, did come about in that one shot.
So I obviously didn't prepare today's 3 in any way beyond the word centaur.
No.
But the reason for that is because
Would not have guessed.
we'd mentioned some centaurs beforehand, and I see this come up periodically on Facebook because Facebook likes repeatedly recommending the same things to me, like
same.
in my feed. For some reason, it's very annoying.
Facebook is a deranged place these days.
It is and always was. But there's this one story that keeps coming up where someone challenges a centaur to a horse race. And the centaur is like, great, I accept. I'm going to beat you hands down. It's like, oh, cool, where's your horse? I'm a centaur. No, this is a horse race. You need to get on a horse and beat me in a race with the pair of us riding horses.
Brilliant.
That
If
poor horse.
a centaur rides a horse, is it a piggyback? A philosophical question for you all on
actually.
this fine evening.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say so. In
I would
a
argue
weird
it's a
roundabout sort of a
piggyback.
way.
It is as much of a piggyback, I suppose, as a human giving another human a
It's-
human a lift.
As much of a
Or-
piggyback as a human giving another human with a horse's head a lift. Like that.
I was going to say, yes, it's as much of a piggyback as a human being given a lift by like a silverback gorilla, maybe.
Watch out for low branches.
Yeah. I like mine better, the horse head man getting a piggyback.
So basically,
Oh,
just
the problem
Bojack
is like a
someone
reverse
giving Bojack
centaur
Horseman-
isn't just the head. Because you've also got the
That is true.
torso and the front limbs.
Oh, what you're saying
So it's a
is that
human
it's the
body
same
with...
as somebody giving the reverse centaur what I drew in the high heels and piggyback, which would be truly harrowing and also really difficult because it doesn't have any arms.
Oh, wow.
Well, or you have the full, like a version that's human to the shoulders, and then from the shoulders up, it's the front half of a horse, which is really overbalanced.
Oh, yeah,
So
structurally,
overbalanced.
that's not doing good things.
Future us, save us from this madness with
Please.
messages from the present.
Yeah, please do.
Nothing can save you from this madness. Let's just move on.
I don't trust future us to have helped.
No, I don't.
No, I don't. No,
In the
absolutely not.
slightest.
Definitely
now
not.
you've issued a challenge, really.
And on that challenging note, it's time to begin Flintlocks and Fireballs. Our land stands on the sabre's edge.
Our cities are a powder keg.
Brother chains, brother, no one's free. A life on land is short, you'll see.
So gather your muskets, gather your spears, we'll plunder the shores of Calcinea. No kraken, storm or spell we fear, so come and sail with us, my dear.
Previously on Flintlocks and Fireballs, the party have taken half a week off. By which I mean to say that they've gotten involved in a series of small adventures and investigations and destroyed an invasive ant colony and nearly got little Corzin killed attempting to attend Alder's Night.
Just, a relaxing holiday.
Yeah.
All in a week's work. I
when-
guess.
How many
When-
winged creatures can we kill in a week?
Went wyvern hunting to
It's a lovely day out.
Yep, to
Saw
a
some
lovely
wildlife.
island on the edge of
Killed
the
it.
squall. Well, you caught it alive, but yes, the point where you then
Now
disintegrated
it's dead.
it
So I turned it into
Um,
paste.
Yeah.
and to turn it into paste to make it into a hat. That point definitely killed
To
it.
give to a child.
And after half a week's work with Victory's Aid, you now have a somewhat lovely, depending on the quality of your craft skill, hat. Yeah, actually, roll a craft check.
I'm tiding this shit because absolutely I've got the time I would. What am I adding to this?
Oh, it looks like Tides is active, so just give me
Balls.
roll 2d100 while we're at it.
Neither of us are with you by this point, are we?
Yeah, no.
This
Yeah,
is fine.
You're
Yeah, I'm
in
not-
your...
I'm not with you
Your
for long
room,
enough to
aren't
give
you?
you
Yeah.
inspiration.
There's a 34 and a 70.
Okay, 34 and 70. So, your choices. Your futures. Alright. You see two futures. One in which you weep bittersweet tears, and one you actually have no idea. You cannot predict the other one.
Well, better do that.
Okay, other one it is then. Right,
Just because I want to know. This is fine.
Scamp, you are on the you are carefully bringing the last portion of your enchantment together. You've got, you've assembled. You are assembling the hat. There's a bit of careful work bringing the with the fabricate spell in place to do the to help with the final assembly. Can you tell me what the result of your roll with advantage was?
Oh.
As we
I
reactivate
did not roll
tides?
yet. And I don't know what I'm adding to it.
Well, you're not proficient in millining or clothes making, so I guess this is
That's not a skill.
So I guess that's going to be your choice of intelligence or dexterity.
I am
was actually
slightly
wisdom.
more dexterous than I am smart.
Okay.
None of us are smart. It's okay, no one's judging.
It's a problem. I don't think I have any skill proficiencies in anything that would be relevant.
Nope.
Oh, well, one of them's a 19 on the dice, so that's fine.
Okay.
So it's a 21.
Okay.
Yay.
Yeah, it occurs to you a moment before everything goes wrong. If you just painted the hat, actually, you might actually have a
I
better.
was gonna say, why aren't that, like, I'm proficient in painting. Why aren't I painting?
Yeah, and as you think this,
It's exactly the kind of thing you'd do, though, isn't it? You'd just like
You're having a Wile E. Coyote moment, is what
3/4
you're
of the
doing.
way through a hat. You'd be like, why
you're
aren't I painting?
Yeah, 90% of the way through. Like you're in the last portion of making this hat. You're bringing the magic. You bring it you're weaving these threads of like fine spun magical clay, bringing them together with these into the propeller portion with the actual stitching it through the actual hat, and you're just like, oh, I could have painted this whole thing, and then
I've made so many hats by painting them. So many hats.
yeah. And you Scamp are a much better painter than at this point than you are a milliner. And just as this occurs to you, you suddenly find yourself sat on your beanbag floor, holding a completed hat. And, because you did also use Tides of Chaos on that, I'm going to ask you to roll 2d100 again. And we're going to find out what else might have happened.
84. And 30.
Oh, 30. Okay, not 34.
No.
Right. Because of the circumstances of what roll 34 was, I'm going to ask you to choose blind between those two.
Oh, good. 84.
84 it is. So, you and the last thing you do is Victory is kind of like helping you channel the magic, helping you put this together, keep carefully unspooling this spun clay thread stuff full of wyvern magic as you weave it all in together. And then the next thing as you realize, oh, I could have painted this, is you are sat on the ground on your beanbag floor, and you have a just beautifully well constructed hat in front of you now. It's lovely. It's like a little. It's got multiple colors. It's got a little brim to keep the sun out of little Corzin's eyes. It has a propeller on the top that looks like kind of somewhere between a sycamore seed and, like, strangely a bit like iridescent wyvern scale. It's lovely. There's also the sound of muffled screaming as you look around and you realize that you are just surrounded by thousands of bloodied teeth. Your mouth is currently toothless and bleeding. Victory is screaming and has her face planted into the beanbag floor for a moment. And it's just going.
I'm going to try and help Victory up.
Cool. You walk over. Victory kind of puts up for a moment, vomits just a spray of bloodied teeth like more teeth than she should really have in her mouth. And then clamps a hand over her mouth and sort of like accepts the hand up. I'm assuming you said that, nodding, not like mouth closed. Yeah.
I'm going to just sit on the floor, shut my eyes, and wait for it to go away.
Roll a d10, please.
Valid as fuck.
7.
After 7 more minutes, the awful sensation of your teeth continuously trying to regrow and force themselves out subsides.
Oh, God.
And you are left with, after spitting out the just mouthful of extra teeth, your regular teeth again. The same appears to be the case of Victory, who spits out a little tooth, goes... Okay, seriously.
Right.
Yeah, okay, sometimes, Scamp, seriously, fuck your magic.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
The hat looks great, though.
It's a great hat. There's fucking teeth everywhere.
I'm mostly
I'm
impressed
going to bed.
that we managed to avoid, like, spraying any teeth on the hat.
Oh, I was very careful not to vomit teeth on the new hat.
Yeah. How are you doing? Your eyes just sort of went, like, weird for about 10 straight minutes there, and you just wouldn't respond to anything up until the end, and then we both started vomiting teeth.
Oh, good. It was a whole 10 minutes I was unaware of. Lovely. I'd like there not to be any more teeth in here, please, except the ones in our mouths that should be where they are.
The teeth around the room just sink into the beanbag floor.
I'm just going to have a little lie down.
And the floor
forever.
covers
I'm just
them up.
I'm just going to like face plant into the beanbags and just stay there.
Valid.
I'll have a long rest. I'm just going to stay there.
Yes, I would have a long
I just
rest
like
after
slightly
that, to be honest.
sink into the beanbags.
Woo!
Yeah, I think that'd be the end of my day. Well,
Yeah.
regardless of what time it was, I think it's bedtime after that. Yep.
Right. Okay. So, anyway, that small little ending of the interlude aside, though, you Scamp and
Got a
Victory
lovely hat now.
do return with a lovely hat and all their teeth.
All out of teeth. Yeah.
And yes, the party resume once again.
The wording of return with a hat and all their teeth. It's just
Yeah.
deeply harrowing.
And on
What a lovely holiday we're having.
We're so good at time off. Like, jeez, I thought I was bad at resting IRL. Like, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, like,
And it's times like this where you go, my day could have been worse, couldn't it?
yeah,
Because I could have
Yeah.
vomited up teeth and like they could have kept regrowing and leaving me.
yeah.
Like everything could always be worse.
Yep, definitely.
Sorry, the number rolled was you forget the next 10 minutes.
Oh wow.
Okay.
So, anyway, that mildly horrifying result on the wild magic table. As ever, thank you, Table Fables.
The tale of it was you especially
Nice.
fucked up today. Well done.
It results.
Could it not have been the 7 minutes of teeth that I forgot?
You'd hope,
I mean, that would have
right?
been a kindness.
Oh no! It was it was 10 plus 1d10 minutes of teeth.
Oh god.
Oh,
So-
good.
That's
I
far
forgot
too
the
much.
first 10 minutes of teeth.
So for the first 10 minutes of that, Victory was watching as Scamp stared into space and all their teeth fell out while her teeth fell out. That's horrendous.
Yeah, although she was like screaming and trying to like plant her mouth in the ground to avoid this continuously happening. It was a rough last 17 minutes of that enchantment.
Jesus. Just some downtime.
Yeah.
However,
Isn't being a sorcerer wonderful? I should totally exist. This is fine. This is not a bad thing.
I just feel like if you know the chat with Vasilisa, if that happened like the day after this, and you told her, I feel like she'd be like, yeah, fair enough, man.
Imagine if it happened in the chat. Like, are you saying we should exist? Teeth. Just teeth.
Incidentally, please add to your notes for for raw materials available for your use in the
ton of teeth.
in your wing of the Sirius Citadel.
17 minutes of teeth.
Yeah, I'm gonna say like at least a good kilogram of sorcerer,
God, so
a good
many.
kilogram of tiefling teeth.
Measuring teeth in minutes is harrowing.
It really is. Oh.
Is there just one beanbag square that's just teeth?
Right now, they're like all sunk below the beanbag floor, ready
So
to
if you
like,
dug down the
just come up.
strata of beanbags,
Oh,
you'd just find teeth, because that's horrifying. as a
Oh,
thing.
no.
Well, currently they're ready to be reshaped into whatever form you like. So they could be spikes of teeth that come out. You could shape them into some sort of loving ivory sculpture of a duck. Whatever you want.
It's episodes like this that are like why we do content warnings.
Yes, I've noted down content warnings for teeth
For
and
like
body
teeth
horror.
horror.
Yeah, no, teeth are a big
Like,
one.
oh.
Yeah. Wow. So the morning of the 12th of First Flurries, however, is comparatively quiet. Quiet. You receive a someone brings a message to the ship, inviting you, the three of you, to have lunch with Odanone, his uncle Calcinea, and his cousin Anisadira, who have found some lodgings in the city and would like to both catch up and talk about why they are in Newmark. So, unless there is anything the three of you would like to do before that, if so, please say so now. Otherwise, we can just wind ahead to that meeting.
Don't think so on this front.
Not on like that specific day for any reason, no.
All right.
No, I mean, I want to make sure little Corzin's got his hat by now, but that's not a thing we need to actually play out, just to say that's where it is, in case the child falls again.
Hat!
Excellent.
You Corzin. You and Molly look over as little Corzin runs out with a little hat strapped onto the top of his little tricorn hat. He says, "Look, it does this!" And he spins the top of the little sycamore thing and immediately starts flying into the air, not super fast, but but still faster than fast enough to notice, because I'm pretty sure that the rate
Levitates?
that Levitate's rate of ascension is 10 foot per round. So
I think so, yeah.
yeah, so he is ascending more than his body's height per second.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
But still relatively low compared to, say, the mast.
Right. Now remember, with that, first rule, do not take that hat off when you're in the air.
Okay.
Really super important.
Wow. happens if he puts a hand up and, like, to try and mess with it, hand interrupts the propeller, propeller halts, and then immediately he starts falling at the rate of a feather.
Okay, Corzin is halfway through the motion of, like, doing a running dive to try and catch him, and then notices... Alright.
Yeah, no, I put a falling thing in too. The falling bit was the most
Scamp.
important bit.
Yes, very, very thoughtful of you. Thank you very much. Incidentally, if he does take that off, he will just drop, won't he? I have got that right, haven't I?
I don't know. Would interrupting it just cast Featherfall?
Interrupting it immediately causes Featherfall to be cast. And I'm going to say that with 5 solid, with 3 to 4 days to work on this, and Victory assisting you, who has a fair bit of experience flying, and also has stories from her mum on why wizards should prepare Featherfall as well as flight, because that's because she's killed wizards with dispel magic before.
Oh, I gave up Featherfall. I forgot how to do Featherfall.
You did indeed program
This is fine.
put the Featherfall enchantment to be cast on the wearer, rather than just the hat. So if the hat is knocked off, it immediately casts Featherfall.
I mean, considering
on the wearer.
how significantly we think about, like, storms in our future, that's probably... What if it blows off?
Exactly.
Yeah, smart.
There's a reason why the hat also comes with an adorable little clip, like belt.
Chin strap.
Like a party
chin strap
hat.
thing.
Like
Because-
a little party hat.
Because you really want that to stay on.
Aww.
Nevertheless, one adorable, a brief adorable encounter with the propeller hat later, you find your ways to the apartment that Odanone and family have rented. This one is in Thornhill. So kind of broad, like lower middle class type area, but not the sort of classic sort of goblin districts. You make your way up to the second story apartment, and after a knock on the door, you are greeted by the familiar form of Odanone, who, just as a reminder, is an Achene, who, like the rest of his people, is humanoid in appearance, but with a slightly avian cast to his cheekbones and features. His skin is bone white, with bone white feathers instead of hair, with black tips, and bird-like eyes with white, sort of eagle-like eyes with white irises. He's wearing a variant of his usual pale traveller's clothes, although not currently armed with bone spear. He smiles broadly upon seeing you. Ah, my friends, it is good to see you.
Good to see you too. How are you?
Yes.
Well enough. It is a pleasure to be here in the colonies, as they are calling them, under more, what's the word, auspicious circumstances. He gestures you in, and there is an apartment that is honestly fairly generic for the most part. This is clearly one that is rented out to travellers and the like with some frequency. So the furniture is serviceable but cheap. There is minimal decor. A bizarre amount of beige for some reason. However, there are little bits of colour here and there where you can see coats belonging to the Achene hung up on on pegs, a handful of familiar-looking ceramic vessels painted with repeating patterns in either black stripes or bands of colour. You can also see that studying a series of essentially papers marked in a script that I don't think any of you can read, but which you have seen before. What appeared? Oh, actually, no, I tell a lie. Which
Bull giant?
Corzin can sort of read. The Achene script is based on Gigantic.
Okay.
So you can read it, but it's a little bit like reading closer to Middle English than Old English.
I was going to say Chaucer, right?
Yeah, you're in Chaucer. It's like reading Chaucer, except sort of the other way, or more. Although in a sense, it's almost more like you've learned to read Chaucer and now you're reading modern English. You know,
right. Okay.
Yeah. So there's been a couple of thousand years of language evolution.
All the vowel shifts. They're killer.
In between. So you could probably learn to read Achene comparatively easily, having studied Giant, and you could probably work out what it said with time. But it's not. It's something that's it's difficult for you to read at a glance and immediately.
Right, gotcha.
Hack it in. But you can see. Poring over the paperwork are the Odanone's two other relatives. Celestia, his older uncle, an Achene probably in, as far as you can reckon these things, his 50s or 60s, with ochre yellow skin, reddish hair, and it is hair rather than feathers in Celestia's case, and yellow bird-like eyes. His classic sort of sleeveless coat, red coat, is with banded colours around the hemlines, and the waist is actually hung up at the moment. So he's wearing a sort of undershirt slash undervest type affair, which is a sort of russet colour at the moment. Similarly, Anisidira, a younger Achene, probably early to mid 20s, similar age to Odanone. She's a bit rounder in body type compared to the other two, who are quite sort of who are quite rail-like in their appearance. Has blue skin, blue feather hair with yellow flecks, and quite wide golden eyes. She doesn't have the obvious family resemblance of the other two. Again, her sleeveless yellow coat is hung up, and she is wearing a blue sort of vest type affair. She stands up and gives a little bow at the waist as you appear. The Odanone's friends. It is good to see you.
Hello.
Nice to meet you
Hello.
A little bow. I forgot how to describe a bow. So I just did it and expected you to know. That's not how audio mediums work.
Calcinea, a little bit more slowly and with effort, stands, places one hand at his chest, sort of essentially palm facing to the left, fingers pointing up in the same.
That's left.
Yeah,
Yes.
pointing, mimicking the same gesture you were doing, and bows at the waist as well. It is good to see the three of you again. Please, would you care for drinks, refreshments?
Sure. Yes, please.
He
Yes, please.
nods
wonderful.
to Odanone, who prepares a tray of food and drink. The food, by and large, is just it's local fare. You get it's essentially buttered scones, but the drink is a sort of so I'm going to say with what you have. Yeah, you've had this before. Served this time. Served in Porto Macidio, actually, is a jug of slightly rose-tinted looking steaming liquid with a few glittering flakes of spice in it. This is essentially spiced red leaf tea.
Hello. We're all going to wake up a bit.
Yeah, it's it does indeed give you a bit of a perk upon drinking it. It's about as much as a strong coffee.
Right. This is good stuff.
Yeah, it's nice. Thank you.
You are welcome in our home, as much as this is, for the moment, our home. If I may request it, have any of you magical means of ensuring privacy?
That's not really what my magic does.
Um,
I specifically am not scryable, but that's not helpful.
I mean, I can
Or
take us somewhere where there's unlikely to be able to see.
I mean, also there's the ship. That's sanctioned.
yeah.
But
it depends.
Take care of that, and it may be better to speak here regardless.
Of
Yeah.
course, whatever's comfortable.
If he pauses a moment and, while seated, performs the same bow as before. Scamp, you can't see who he's bowing to, but you do. But you can guess as you see him genuflect to the Rainbow Spirit and the ambivalent octopus.
Oh, I forgot he was sighted.
Because indeed, as all of you suddenly remember that Telesonero is indeed a dream speaker. If I may ask for your aid, he says, to your spirits and those of around this city, I may guide them to secure this place.
Rainbow Spirit would answer something.
Rainbow Spirit goes, yeah, okay. Gives a nod. Ambivalent octopus.
Anything we can do to help, right?
Yeah, suppose so. And you see...
Have a good look at him like it's...
Hello.
It's up in his face just to have a look.
Telesino stands up and prepares a series, and you can see that he's prepared a series of small pots with which are intricately marked in a Cheen/gigantic script, filled with, you'd guess, like a mixture of like varnishes and resins, for want of a better term, as well as some brushes, and another filled with finely ground powders that he begins tracing out and burning. The air quickly fills with a somewhat cloying but intoxicating scent, and Celestia and Corzin, you see a number of local spirits of different types flit into the room, all who pause for a moment and called by the little burning incense, and to each one, or rather before each one, you see Telesonero places a small carved token of some type. Some of them come in, sniff around, and leave. Others come forth and absorb seem to twist around the smoke, and then descend into and pass through the token, causing it, in your eyes, to flash for a moment. There is... Corzin, you haven't seen this before, or rather heard this before, but there is a strange sort of greenish spirit that sounds like the clanking and clattering of glass bottles.
Oh, the rainbow spirit gets well excited. It's like, hi, friend!
That swirls around the incense, seems to accept the offering and passes its strength into the token. And then another, which is less welcome to the rainbow spirit, as descending through the ceiling is a bird-like, shadowy spirit with a sort of death's head skull type impression around where its head would be. The Vrock, as Clara described it. The rainbow spirit kind of rears up a little in hostility. The Vrock tilts its head. It sniffs at the offering, but turns to Telesonero, who repeats the same bow, tilts its head, and bows in return, tapping one of the tokens, which fills with a sort of inky spirit substance before rearing back up and then taking wing.
So it's not like it's taking in whole spirits, it's like it's just taking a bit of energy from them.
Yes. You get the feeling once... Telesonero has about 7 of these total, and each one fills up with... Each one you get the feeling that the spirit is giving... A visiting spirit is giving something, and possibly getting something. Although there is something about it that you get the feeling of a debt is being incurred, but either Telesonero or dream speakers like him will be obligated to fulfill, or their credit is already good in some other way.
Interesting. Do they look at all like Magnus's thing?
Ooh.
I was just, because a chain giant's, like, I was just curious.
Yeah.
That's an excellent question. Roll an Arcana check with advantage.
Because to Celestia, it kind of looks like that, but with consent and not destructive. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a really good Arcana check. Except I can't turn fucking pages in my notebook. It's going great. That's a 22. I rolled a
You're-
19.
You feel like that hunch feels accurate. Looking at the carvings and the structure of it, and indeed you can see that the tokens are actually made, are either made from cloudstone or have pieces of cloudstone incorporated into them, and little silvery bits of metal. You get the feeling that these are related to, or perhaps descendants of, those spirit prisons in some way.
Yeah. But again, like, with consent, and it doesn't destroy the spirit.
Yeah.
And also there's like an equal exchange, you were saying.
There
that's
is,
going.
yeah, there is a different...
So it's not like the same thing, but yeah.
You can kind of, yeah, you can see that...
Like a shared technology rather than
Yeah.
being
Yeah.
a copy of.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the sense of, how would I put this? If you were to look at ancient Roman archways and then arch-type bridges, and then constructions from many centuries later drawing on similar principles, but either less, well, in this case, smaller, less grand in execution. That's sort of the feel you get. These things are
Maybe honed a bit.
yeah, they are of a kin, but they are not the same. However, once the tithe or tribute or payment is taken from each spirit, and the same offering is made to the rainbow spirit, who is a little dubious, but does elect to sort of twist around and then tap one of the tokens just cautiously. It's strange, Celestia.
Yeah, do I feel anything?
You feel like a sort of ripple run through the spirit and through you. It's a sense of... It's a little bit of a rush. Like, there is a slight... Not exactly a loss. There is a taking. But you also feel a connection between, well, yourself via the rainbow spirit, I should say, and Calcinea. Like a very, like that sense of obligation of debt owed feels concrete in a strange way.
Like he owes a debt to us?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, there is. He must do something that will benefit the rainbow spirit, directly or indirectly, at some point. It's not a big debt. He has spread that obligation around 7 different spirits by doing this.
Right.
And Corzin, you get a similar experience when the ambivalent octopus shrugs and taps a token with its tentacle. There is something is owed and must be repaid, but it's power enough to do what Calcinea needs.
Interesting.
He then places the 7 tokens around the apartment and takes the resins and paints and draws a brush with them out with draws with a brush extended patterns in Achene / gigantic, and you feel the power kind of leach out of these tokens at the end, guided through them, and a sense of a strange sort of rainbow, almost, which is very odd because it's a rainbow of which only 1/7 is rainbow. Like 1/7 of that rainbow is itself rainbow, because you can feel strands of the rainbow spirit forming this, but also of the others. There's a sort of resolute indecisiveness that permeates it. A strange sense of annoyance, of like aggravation, or deliberate / or else carefree annoyance that feels like the clattering of things in the middle of the night. That's a part of it. An ominous sensation of fate that collectively permeate and enshrine this room. I'm going to say that you get because the pair of you have spirits that contributed to this effect, you instinctively can tell what has happened. So, this does... Yeah, I'm not... This is basically... So this is... this does not work exactly like the one in the book, because it is effectively the Mordenkainen's private sanctum equivalent of this. So it's not permanent, and thus does not require 1,000 gold pieces worth of materials and a 24-hour casting time. This is a 10-minute casting time and lasts 24 hours.
What is the spell, please?
This is Hallow.
Hallow.
So,
Hallow. Okay.
The area is... First of all, you feel a strange sense of... you feel a strange sense of protection and almost banishment exude around the area. Spirits that have not been welcomed cannot enter it. So the spirits that can enter it, in fact, are and automatically granted permission to enter it, are the 7 that contributed.
Okay,
So your spirits are able to enter freely, as our green glass bottle and the frog. But any others who didn't directly contribute are not. In addition, there are a few other effects. All right. So this one that works a little bit like the Mordenkainen's sanctum, like the sanctum. So the sound cannot pass into or out of the area. The divination cannot penetrate through the barrier either way. Teleportation cannot penetrate through the barrier either way. And yeah, all plane of travel. And I think they can also choose to add one extra nice little thing. I'm going to say... There is an additional boon that comes of the confluence of these 7 spirits, and it is one of strange understanding. While you are in this space, you can each understand spoken words from another creature, regardless of language barrier.
That's really cool.
So
That's
it is a
cool.
tongues effect. It's not comprehend languages, doesn't work on writing, but there is essentially a tongues effect on this within this space.
That's super cool to be able to just do.
Oh, I could just talk in Infernal now. Everyone will understand.
I could just talk in the halfling.
Or Elvish.
you get a strange impulse to do that if you want. Like you instinctively feel like you could if you want. So if you want to say anything in Elvish just for fun, you absolutely can. And indeed, Telesinero, upon completing this hallowing of the space, relaxes a little. There. We should now be protected from casual intrusions.
Very impressive.
Oh, I can tell.
Yeah.
Your magic is interesting. Because my spirit doesn't do this. Like, anything that hides, that's kind of not what we're about. So it's interesting that you can use spirits... You consensually, by the looks of things, but you can ask spirits for help with things that they don't normally do. That's very interesting to me.
Much as a skilled weaver may combine strands of multiple colours together to achieve a blended shade.
That's a good explanation.
You notice that
Makes
his
sense.
speech is much less whole. There is still the distinct Achene cadence, but there is less struggling for words going on, and you have that same double perception that you did in the Cirrus Citadel of realizing he's speaking his native tongue, you can just understand it. Now, we may also speak freely here.
So useful.
Very good. I like that.
He gestures to sit again, and anyone who's been standing. It's been 10 minutes of doing this, so presumably you've been sat and having scones and red leaf tea. But he takes a seat as well. On to the matter at hand. We are here because we have heard of the convention. This Continental Congress, which is due to occur in the city of New Altmark. It is my understanding that it will be the 7th of the next month. Is that correct?
I think that's what we've
That's
heard.
right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is my understanding, then, that the representatives of these 13 colonies that have rebelled against Ossyria will seek to negotiate a union between them to resist the distant force of Orcrest.
Sounds about right, as far as we're aware.
Yeah.
Yes, General Apple Blossom is bringing several representatives together here.
Telesinero and Anisadira in particular share a somewhat concerned look. How likely is it that this will succeed?
It depends on a lot of stuff.
It's a difficult question.
What's your ideal outcome for this? Like, what effect's it going to have on you? Just so we know going in, because we've been asked to help talk to people.
Telesinero frowns for a moment and sort of steeples his fingers, dwelling on his response before saying, "It may well be that the worst outcome for us is for your colonies to lose their fight and for the giant of Orcrest to return. It may also be that winning this war is the worst outcome for us. And
I can see your reasoning there, but yeah.
Anisadira pipes it up. A lot of our people, many, think that Orcrest is the enemy. And yes, they are right, but it was not orcs from across the waters who burned Aptak. It was orcs and humans here. Celestia, you can now roll an intelligence check again, as you're getting another tingle of memory. Assuming you can find any of your d20s.
Dice. There, sorry. I'm still like I see so many dice, none of them are d20s. If you have that happen to you.
Yeah, that's why I separate mine out.
Do I get to add anything?
Your intelligence modifier.
Oh, okay. I mean, it's not stupidly high these days. That's a 14?
Okay, that is enough. You now remember where you have seen this Achene before, which is in a vision.
Oh.
However,
I still don't know,
yes.
so you're going to have to
remind me.
It's been ages.
3 years for us.
It's been a while since we've been near this storyline, to be honest. Yeah.
During one of your echoes from the past, you had a vision in which you were a young Achene girl who, during the fall of Aptak, when a colonel operating on behalf of Ossyria came in, and as I recall, essentially betrayed the diplomatic agreement of the time and took the city by force and burned it down. You remember playing with and carrying away / rescuing a very young little chubby blue-skinned Achene girl, and your mind connects the two, and in the way that it takes a while for you to recognize someone you've only seen as like a child in their adult form, your brain makes the leap, and you now know where you have seen Anisadira before.
Got you.
The Calcinea speaks again. You can see that we are concerned. The Panuki have resisted the expansion of the colonies, as we are the heirs to the cities of the Cloudwalkers. Others have been less fortunate, such as the Yorchi. Odanone cuts in. The Yorchi were the people who were the nation that held Aptak among other settlements. They no longer exist. They collapsed. The people who were the Yorchi split. Those who did not go to join other nations remained as the Yamasor. They are the ones who they are the Griffin Riders, the ones who raid the settlements. They are... Anisadira cuts in. Short-tempered bastards at times. And troublemakers. Anisadira. Temper. Yes, uncle. Please forgive these outbursts. There is history between our peoples.
Quite understand.
However, we can resist scattered attacks, but a unified force could take even the cities of the Cloud Walkers. We have come to see what will happen, what will become of this Congress. Anasadira mutters something. Actually, no, Corzin, your passive perception is good enough to overhear her just mutter, and stop it if we have to.
Hopefully that won't be necessary.
She blushes, having realised that you've heard her. And
Yeah,
there is
he's not going to be nasty about it, but like, again, it's a thing of... Doesn't want to be untruthful about the fact he can hear.
There is a sharp look from Telesonero, who cuts in with, just because we are prevented from being spied upon by outsiders does not mean you should not make use of discretion, Anusadira. Forgive me, uncle. But you see our concerns.
Of course.
Of course.
Yeah.
What would help?
We are not the only Achin who have come to observe the Congress. Odanone spotted a member of the Yamasor in the city yesterday. We suspect they have come for the same reasons.
Of course.
It may be that they are here to observe. It may be that they are here to conduct sabotage, or that they see this as a way to cut the head off the snake. The Yamasor have not lost the most. There are those who have lost more amongst the nations this close to the coast. But they are the most militant. They have sworn to avenge our attack, and they would be the happiest to see all of the coastline burn.
Can understand that. Hypothetically, actually, should we do solutions first, or I have a question actually.
We are friends. Ask.
How much are you aware of in terms of what all Syria has, in terms of troops, etc., etc.? We've been given some information. I figure you might want it too.
We would happily accept information. We are aware that the bulk of their forces are across the ocean, spread out, but that they likely have enough to crush these colonies if they cannot unite, or to embroil them in many years of war if they cannot unite fully.
Yeah. There is a complicating factor that we found out just recently, actually, which I don't think is so much common knowledge, so we should probably let you know that. You aware of the Ebon Guard?
That's an excellent question.
I genuinely don't know if they would be. They might be, but I mean, they're not like a complete secret or anything, are they?
The Calcinea shakes his head, his eyes look a little blank.
Drow, for a start.
Like yourself.
Yes. Yeah, Drow, Dark Elf, whatever you prefer. But basically, a bunch of these elite mercenaries have been employed for a while. They're on contracts of 100 years. They all seem to be... I'm finding my little notes on this. Give me a minute. That's not what Celestia says. And Celestia doesn't talk like this. Celestia's never once talked like this. We've been told they're all defaulting on their contracts to support Orsyria, which adds some quite hefty mercenary power to a place that already has quite hefty mercenary power. It is possible that they can be overthrown. But figured if you didn't know, you probably should.
He frowns for a moment and thinks. I would appreciate those numbers if you have them.
Do I have them?
Broadly speaking, you do have those numbers. They are
Yeah.
abstracted, but
Yeah.
don't worry. I will remind you of the numbers.
I didn't actually write down numbers. Horribly, I've got my page of notes from when
I
we did
think
it.
they
and
were
I've
put in the chat.
they were put in the
You
chat.
put them in the
Yeah.
chat.
Oh shit!
Yeah, but the more to the point, I can tell you what the relative numbers
Yes,
are. I you don't. You know, the in an abstracted down from a much more complicated set of notes. I believe I said that. Just double check that I've got the right version of these.
When was this put in chat? I'm useless. Was that recently?
I think it was at this point.
It was
possibly
a
weeks
good
ago.
few weeks ago.
So don't
Okay.
worry.
It's
I'm
in an
gonna remind
episode
you.
that's already aired now, so
Oh
it might
wow!
be a while
Ages
back.
ago, yeah.
Yeah,
Because
downtime-
Becca was listening
that
to it the other
downtime
day.
Took a lot longer than we thought. So, in a broad sense, just to give you a
we
reminder.
like to faff.
Yes. So I can give you this reminder as you explain the situation to Calcinea if you want. It depends whether you want to share those details with him or not.
Give them to me, and I will decide.
Right. So, reminder for us.
or anyone can.
Yeah.
We're all there. For
A
numbers,
reminder for
obviously.
you all. In a broad sense, the way that this breaks down in a sort of grand strategy sense is Orsyria can effectively be thought to have military force, industrial capacity, and resources equal to a score of 5. In order to win a war of independence against Orsyria, the colonies need to be able to tie them on 2 scores and beat them on 1, or
So it's 5 in each thing.
or
Yeah.
beat them on 2 while losing on 1. Basically, they've got to have a net score of they've got to have 1 win more than they
Best
have
of 3.
losses. So
So it's a best of 3.
best of 3.
competition.
It's a best of 3 competition.
And if we drew on all 3,
If you draw on all, if you drew on all 3, then you get 20 years of bloody warfare ending in a stalemate.
Cool. We need to not draw. Cool.
Like it's technically a win, but everyone loses.
yeah.
So the in a broad sense, if you, I will say that if you manage to get all the colonies to combine, you'd have enough to beat Orsyria hand down. But no one of the three factions on their own can do it. The immigrant cities, which includes Newmark and Thunder's Watch, I'm just going to give you the scores going military, industrial, resources, and just give you these as a set of three numbers if you want to just write these down.
Industrial resources.
Yeah. So
Stowaways, follow along with the wargaming portion.
yes. So immigrant cities have 141. So really good industrial capacity, terrible military and resources.
Okay.
Lovely.
The faithful, which are centered around, St. Fury and St. Purity, have 312. So they've got good military because St. Fury is all about the right to bear arms. Very little industrial capacity and some resources. And the cotton states, or the cotton barons, have 215. So some guns, very little industrial capacity, and loads of resources. So that's their comparative power. On top of that, the Ebon Guard collectively count as 2 points of military.
Yeah, but nothing of anything else because they're fucking military in it.
They are
Yeah,
basically,
cool.
they're just military.
That is so much military, though.
Yeah.
Like, in terms of looking at what everybody else has. That's so much
I
military.
mean, in terms of force projection, that is a lot.
Yeah. There's you're expecting tens of thousands of the most elite troops in the world.
Yeah. And we don't know what else Orsyria has, do we? Because they're all Syria, right?
They're all Syria, but you've accurately worked out because the Bell Founders have infiltrated Orsyria's intelligence networks. You know what Orsyria is bringing to the table.
555.
They have 555.
Sorry.
That's
my memory doing a fail.
The only way that Orsyria can get more is by convincing another faction to rejoin them.
Cool.
So, yes, it's up to you how much of this strategic overview...
I mean, I'd be inclined to tell them everything, would you two?
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably a terrible idea, but
probably,
also.
but I can't think of it. Yeah. I think we would, you know?
Yeah, I think we would. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I have thoughts strategically, so I think would require them to know.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, I don't think there's a way to say these numbers in a fun and character way, but let's assume that we've told them everything.
We relay the information.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't tell them my personal connection to the avant-garde. Other than that.
Okay, so that is that's going to be pretty useful. I'm going to just 1, 5, 6, and we're going to give that to these guys as well. Cool. All right. So as you lay out all this information, you lay out this understanding. Telescenero takes notes and frowns. He looks between his two family members. They nod. Since you have been open with us, we will be open with you.
Thank you.
The Panuki cannot hope to withstand even one of these groups. He pauses. Perhaps the Ebon Guard you mentioned alone, but any one of your factions of colonies would be enough to defeat us if they focused on making war with us. We have military capacity enough to make a meaningful stance because of the Cloud Walkers' cities. And we have many skilled workers and tradesfolk. But we cannot hope to compare with the industrial capacity of Newmark or Thunder's Watch and the others together. You understand?
Yes.
There are tools and technologies and infrastructures we lack. He gives you a bit of a summary of and there is a look of protest from Annie Sedira at him doing so, which he silences as he lays out in more complex details effectively the military industrial capacity of the Panicky. So you know how I did like military industrial resources?
Yep.
1, 2, 0.
Okay.
Nothing.
They effectively it's not that the Panicky are completely devoid of resources. It's more that they are net importers.
Yeah, it's a relative scale to everything else.
Yeah, they don't, and they. He explains, we rely extensively on imports from our neighbours, the Chewa, and even on trade with the colonies of the coast. I think perhaps it is time that I give you a breakdown of the Achin who are close enough to be involved in any way with this.
If you would.
That would be very helpful, thank you.
He gestures, and Odanone brings over a map, and it is indeed the map that I have sent to you in the group chat.
Hooray!
It's a good map.
It's a good map.
And I should make a note to include the map.
It's a very nice map.
Yeah, include map
Yes.
with episode. It's been a long time since I've included maps.
It has. A welcome return.
Yeah. So he lays out the map, and you can see following the coastline the sort of broadly between Newmark and Thunder's Watch is the immigrant cities area where you are, which technically does include Aptak. And then if you go a little bit more to the left, I guess west from there, you get sort of Johannesland, Purity, St. Gregorsville. That's the faithful type area. And then you have to the south St. Victory, Port Devereux, Sablebourg, and technically Steinsfeld up to the north as well, and New Dovetail are all sort of they count as cotton states. So that's the colonies to the side. They're all marked with circles. Port Carver is not a rebelling colony. That's still held by Ossyria. Hasn't joined the revolution. Now you'll notice that I've got the little diamond-shaped ones down below. So if you look towards the right-hand side of the map, in blue you may recognise Inyan and Tiope.
Yes.
And in a third city that you didn't visit, Aname. Odanone explains these. That is Inyan, where you met my uncle, and there is Tiope, where you met our queen. Now, these three cities and the surroundings belong to the Panuki, and because tongues, this automatically translates to what it means in to what it would mean, as well as the word, which is stone guardians.
Cool.
That is our nation. If you were to travel east towards the coastline near Port Carver, you see there is Maza and Wagniza. Those are the Chewa. Your mind translates to sea folk.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
The sea peoples. Sorry, anyway.
The sea people.
Times
My
with the
brain
seas.
has like
Seaples? No.
deleted the actual name of the city in favour of the phrase sea peoples. Which one am I looking at?
Chewa.
You're really going to have to bear with my word brain
Honestly,
this time of
if you
night.
go
We're
sea
doomed if it's the
folk,
sea people.
I can't find it.
oh no, it's not the name of the city. That's the name of the people.
Oh, okay.
So it's the green ones.
How do I spell Chewa?
Yeah.
Chay.
Chayy.
WAH is how I've
Chewa.
anglicised it.
Lovely.
Okay, so yeah, so they trade out of Wagmiza and elsewhere. They are our closest neighbours. They know that they trade with Ossyria and
There it is.
have done well by it, but they are more resource rich than we are.
Is this also them on the other side when Imiter and Hanaka?
As I get my
Yeah, is it colour coded?
it is color
Brilliant.
coded.
So I can write the colours under. Cool, thanks.
Indeed.
That's actually really helpful. Love that you did that.
Yes, there's a pause of and a glance between them. Then you see Calcinea looks from one side of the map to the other side of the map, and then up at Odanone. Nephew, why did you use green for two different nations? In my defense, Uncle, they are slightly different shades of green. I cannot tell the difference in those shades.
I'm
sorry, I
Odanone,
really can't.
Darling, no they fucking aren't. I know we're all being very polite here, but that is not two different shades of green.
Anasadira cuts in. Odanone, have you heard of relative colour theory? They may have been different shades in the palette, but against those backgrounds, they look identical.
You see, that just looks like the same fucking green. Maybe a tiny shift in value to not me, because I've never fucking heard of colour theory.
Anasadira, these may be the same green, have a slightly different change in value, but I assure you they are the same green.
Yeah, that's the same green, darling. I'm sorry. Celestia just breaks all formal pretense for a second. They can't be two different greens. I refuse.
You understand our confusion.
Yeah,
at
the
least.
Rainbow Spirit is putting the green bit of it on one bit and then the green bit on the other one, as they to say they're fucking
This is
same.
the same fucking green.
Look, I'm green, and so are they.
Yeah, I don't know what Jason from 4 years ago was thinking with that colour
Why
coding.
he like this?
Yeah. Anyway, no, they
Sorry, I completely
are...
derailed
Oh, your
us.
reds are really the same
Yeah.
as well. Why are you like this? It's a beautiful map. It's just your
beautiful
colour
map.
coding.
My colour coding was terrible. I think I did this in 2020 or maybe 2019.
Nobody should be judged for anything they did in 2020 in your defence.
Yeah, it's
The red of Tatanka is distinct from the red of Aptak,
yeah,
but only just.
This is like
Aptak's a different shape, so I
yeah,
can cope.
the different
Yeah,
shape.
the different
helps.
shape makes it kind of okay.
The reds that are
don't-
getting me are Tatanka and New Hawker.
Yeah.
Which I think are maybe different, but not enough.
Why the heck are
They look purple on mine, New Yorker. Maybe the screen's
Yeah, they're
the
purple.
Hulka
on mine.
is
Oh, you know what that
definitely
is? That's
you've
my
got like a
fucking
blue
warm screen
thing.
tint, and my glasses for reading the words at this time of night are making that
got it.
worse.
Yeah, no, those are definitely purple.
That is purple. No, I've changed my screen. It is
Yeah,
purple.
you could have made one of them pink. Yes, but then I was worried about it looking too much like the colours I was using for the Ossyrian. Oh, I'm sorry, and the colours that you went for the Yamasaur, that dark, slightly darker red. Everyone's a critic. regardless.
Ripping into Odanone aside. Sorry, darling. Let's continue.
The sea folk are our closest neighbours, physically and politically.
That is Marza and... wait a minute.
Wagmisa.
And Wagmisa.
Green on the right is them.
Meanwhile, we have, if you go west to the left, then we get the Yamaso out of Tatanka, Anunkasan, and once Attack. They are certainly... If you wanted to know who is the most able to have a fight, it would be them. Though we would be hard pressed to say how strong they are militarily. Perhaps stronger than New Altmark and Thunder's Watch are.
Okay.
She gestures further to the west, to the other two green cities. From Imita and Hanaka, you will find the Anawa. And the brain... by the way, Yamasaw translates to Children of the Sky.
Oh, yeah. Griffin Riders, yeah.
The Griffin Riders. Which says... The other green cities, you will see the the Anawa, which translates to the Dream Talkers.
Ooh, cool.
They are different to us. Like us, they are settled rather than moving around. But their dream walkers are the ones in charge.
I think we met someone from Imita shortly after arriving here.
Did we? I've forgotten. What was? Who was that?
It was the old lady.
Oh, the one in the shop.
Yes.
Yeah, who sang the really fantastic song. No, I remember.
Yes, that was her.
Well, they are proud. There's a moment of
who isn't?
awkward politeness from Anisadira, and it's like Odanone's turn to cut and say, "Stuck up. You mean they are stuck up?" They think much of themselves for being dream walkers.
Right.
Do they have a particularly big amount of sighted people, dream-speaking people there?
Yes, it should be said that they poach, recruit. They recruit dream walkers from across the Achene.
Right, because I was going to say, you can't make that happen in any other way than what you've just described, really, can you? Because it's random.
Indeed so. However, they have the strongest traditions and relationships with the dreams. There is appeal for those who walk with dreams to go to them for status, but also for training,
That
to
makes
learn
sense.
more.
Yeah, that makes sense a lot.
However, they are most
Stuck up?
on. They are proud, yes, and strongly at odds with the colonies. Not in a direct militant sense. They are... he sort of gestures with his hand, making like a waving sort of left-right motion a bit.
Mm.
They have not the strongest army, nor are they highly willing to go to war. But their status does make them rich. However, I have heard that they have come under... they would call it an affront to the dream. You might call it a spiritual threat.
Right.
Oh, really?
What kind of threat are we talking?
The dream of wrath, of fury, the dream of purity.
Ah.
So they've got religious differences.
They call
Basically.
dreamwalkers to serve them exclusively.
Oh, of course they fucking do.
And they offer... And they are persuasive with the powers that they offer. We do not know the full details, but we know that this has caused great division between the Anawa, between the Dream Talkers and the colonies.
I mean, yeah, the Regency bullshit doesn't really go together with...
No.
Yeah.
It is... Yes, well... I have little experience with this myself.
Good.
Our people are too distant for your missionaries to have come. At least in any number. He points to the yellow-brown city of marked Tayhawk and sighs. These are the Talini. Your mind translates to 7 peoples. Their story is a sad one. They once held broader lands than those they do now. But they always embraced peace and were unwilling to fight whenever peace was possible until they were forced to. Before the war of a decade passed, they were within those lands claimed by Zul?
Sul.
And forced into this war, when both sides attacked, they chose to side with Sul. Sul lost, and so did they. Many of those who wanted to fight were frustrated that their leaders were sought to hold to the older ways and left to join the Yamaso. Now they have one city remaining. The Anisadira points to the group continuing west in purple. This group did better at, some would say, at the expense of the Talini. They are the... get the name. There you go. They are the Artois, Mine translates river striders. Traders, merchants. They sided with Orcrest when the war came. Took land from the Talini. Grew wealthy, trading with the cities. They have continued to be rich from this since. And then she gestures to the south, further south from there, to the group marked in lighter blue, the stretch of 4 cities running along the sort of river, the river valleys up towards the edge of the distant desert. And these are a bunch of scavenging desert jackals. That is not their actual name. It is a fit description.
What's their name?
They are the Tatano. The mind that gives you, the translation to your mind is Buffalo Raiders.
Oh, okay.
Cowboys. What?
They hail from Wei. He points to one of the cities labeled Wei. That is the state. That is their heart. These other cities are he doesn't have to translate. These other cities are tributaries. Wei has conquered them and made them its subjects. They have they are newer, but have expanded quickly and took advantage of that war to do so. They often take captives and sell them to the colonies and to the west as slaves. They are powerful and one of a handful of our peoples with an interest in ships.
They have navies of their own?
Smaller than yours, but yes. Amongst those of us here, only the Tatano and the Chewa have ships that could be considered even approaching the vessels you command. You must understand those nations on the coastline are long since gone.
Well, if you don't live on a coast, you don't have reasons to have navies. I mean, the Drow don't have navies. You know? Like, it makes sense.
He snaps his fingers. I have remembered something. We had travellers come to trade from the Talini, the 7 peoples, a number of years back. They mentioned seeing people like yourself, Drow, near their lands.
Right. That's incredibly helpful.
I do not know more than that, but
like large numbers of Drow, that's a start. Also,
that's certainly more than we knew.
That would make sense with the information I have, because that's about right. That's about lines up with everything.
Lining up towards the sort of.
It might be near Teho. Creepy Drow lodges, lovely.
Yeah, it's in the sort of St. Victory, St. Gregorsville type-esque area.
Cool. It's also where Glenn was supposed to be. Lol. Everything's fine. Celestia's suddenly smoking, like you've no idea when that started happening. Tobacco, obviously.
Yeah.
I confess, the news you have given me is troubling. I would think upon what we should do. Again, Anasadira can't quite help but mutter, You know what we should do. But doesn't, but under her breath, again, Corzin, with your passive perception, you hear this, but Celestia continues. In the meantime, I would ask if you can discern why the Yamasor are here, what their plans are. That may help us to chart our next course. If nothing else, perhaps prevent any mischief they may be up to.
I have a thought that is immediately coming to me from all of this. I don't know if it's something you would want or you'd hate, or I don't know. You were saying you don't think that your cities could stand up to Syria or the people in this Congress. The people in this Congress being able to stand up to Syria is still a bit in question, let's be honest. Especially dependent on what happens with the Ebon Guard and what happens with all the rest of it, right?
Hence why they're all coming here, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they can actually agree on anything.
Exactly. There's a lot that's up in the air. It occurs to me that even small numbers from you on anything, on military, industry, resources, whatever it is, small numbers from any of these groups of people could make the difference.
Anything that can shift the balance of power.
Mm-hmm. In return for certain guarantees, if we could get you this, because we're at that table, but it's a big table. If we could get you guarantees, would you want to join up? If the answer's no, I'd understand, and if the answer's ready to think about it, I'd understand. So take your time. But it occurred as a way for less people to die. So I said it. I hope that's okay.
Celestia frowns and thinks and says, It is something I must think on.
Please do. We have time yet.
I'm going to say Scamp. Although all of you have reasonable passive insight, yours is pretty good. And you haven't said too much. So you notice while Celestia is frowning at the map and Anasadira has her arms folded and is looking away, Odanone kind of gives you a significant look and then sort of glances at the door and then back to you, but averts his eyes once his uncle looks back up. We must think upon this for a time.
Please do. I know it's not the best option.
Of course.
For a lot of reasons, but
please return.
Can I just send Marjorie to the door quickly? I just under the door. Oh no, Marjorie's big. She's not
Marjorie
a cockroach
is
anymore.
a pigeon
God
again.
damn it.
But
Yeah.
Marjorie.
Oh, Marjorie.
Where is Marjorie at this moment? Is Marjorie in the room with you? Or is she
Probably.
outside? I don't know. She's a pigeon at the moment.
I probably maybe I would have left her outside because bringing a pigeon into someone's house is not. Or I mean, I brought Jeffrey in.
Also, if you
To be
thought
fair.
of this, it's a useful thing to have a look out.
Yeah,
Stormy's on the ship.
Wow.
I'd say Marjorie's outside.
Okay, Marjorie can sort of flutter around and keep an eye on the door and so on. I mean, the apartment door is on the inside, but when you're able to, but I will say that Marjorie is going to be ready to be a pair of extra eyes and ears. You bid your farewells and make your way out out into the apartment, sort of in a hallway, and then down towards the down the stairs to the street level. We're opening the door. Marjorie is perched on a railing outside. Depending on where you might want to place her or what you might want to do next.
I think just have her, keeping her an eye that there's no one around that we don't want around.
Okay.
Listening in through less magical means, perhaps.
I mean, they wouldn't be able to, would they?
Not while we're in the place, but
No.
now we're
maybe.
going
Now,
outside.
yeah. Okay. So you got.
If there was someone hanging around,
Yeah. I'll say, as you kind of make your way down, you down and sort of into the street to start thinking, to start planning your next move. Marjorie, who's keeping an eye on this, notices Odanone slip out of the apartment and start coming down to the street level as well, giving a glance over his shoulder. He...
let's just pop in somewhere. Let's just go down a side alley or something a bit quieter.
All right. Happily.
and I'm going to just get Marjorie to look. Does Odanone know Marjorie?
Odanone has met Marjorie before.
She
Yeah,
was.
before.
I mean, she was a Myrrel, I think, at
Yep.
the time.
Oh, she was.
Either
Yeah,
that or
she's
it
a
was
Well,
bit-
some of the
a
time,
pigeon
but not
again.
all of the. Not
She
all
might
of the
have been a pigeon
time.
for some of it, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think just Marjorie might go join Odanone and
Okay.
guide
Yeah.
to where we are.
Seeing through Marjorie's eyes, you see Odanone kind of like blink a little bit at the pigeon staring at him and going tilts his head, sees the pigeon like kind of tilt and gesture a bit with a wing and like in a not that pigeon like manner, and like takes a glance and then follows after her, and a minute later Odanone appears at the edge of the alleyway and moves towards the three of you.
Hello. Did you want to chat?
Yes. He frowns for a moment, conscious of the fact that that you've stepped out of the sanctum, but leans in to whisper. My cousin is anxious about a number of things. She has dangerous ideas, not necessarily wrong ideas, but if it were not for the fact that it is the young Massor who say it, she would advocate for it. She does not trust the colonies.
I can pretty well understand that.
Yeah.
My uncle was the Panuki representative in Aptak to the Yochi when the city was burned. Anasadira's birth parents were killed, and he adopted her, making her my cousin. She will always hold that as a grudge. And it is the reason as well that things are tense sometimes between her and my uncle, and between her and the Mason.
Sorry I suggested what I suggested.
It may not be the worst suggestion,
Yeah, it might not,
but the Yamasaur idea is to unite all the Achin and extinguish the colonies.
That's also not a terrible idea.
He frowns. I'm not sure. Extinguish. That is the word for when you wipe something out.
That's right.
And do you think that
There's
is
a lot
a
of
good
people.
idea?
Oh, no, not particularly, but I don't know.
Not from their perspective.
That's
yeah,
kind of what I
can
meant,
see
yeah.
why it's.
My point is I can
It's
see
just
the
that's a lot
sense
of
from where
people.
she's standing.
There is
Yeah.
Anusadira might champion a cause like that. She thinks that my uncle is cowardly, and I say she is wrong, but he is cautious.
He's pragmatic. He has people he cares about. That's not anything wrong.
But alone we will lose.
Even if we all united, you'd then be facing the colonies and Assyria. That's what would end up happening.
That is why
Should be insane.
I think... That is why we fear the Yamasaur are here to sabotage the Congress. To prevent unity.
Because then it would
If
just
not
be
their
Assyria.
way, then no way at all.
Assyria fights your colonies fight Assyria and each other.
Both are less afterwards. That makes sense.
Everyone is weakened, and then they sweep in. But what my cousin does not acknowledge is we are as divided as your colonies are. There are deep grudges between, even just between the Panuki and the Yamasaur, to say nothing of the way that the river traders betrayed the Seven Peoples, or the raids of the Buffalo Raiders. There may be a way through this. And it is, and we all want to find ways to preserve what matters. We all have different ideas about how to do that. We are not asking you to save us, to provide a magic solution. Though if you have that sort of magic, please, I am all ears, as you say.
There aren't good solutions.
It's beyond my ken, I'm
Apparently,
afraid.
my magic's all teeth at the moment. That's not really helpful.
Also, I mean, fuck me, we have
What?
certain...
It's best not to think about it.
You know, I'm not going to ask. I'm good at this. I'll ask you later.
But
We have certain influence in certain spots, but this is not one of them.
you are...
All we can do really is relay messages from you.
Imagine a dozen finely balanced what is the word? One thing on one side, on another. Seesaw?
Scales.
Catapult.
Scales.
Scales.
Yeah, scales.
that
Like,
is the
like
word.
weighing scales.
Yes.
Don't worry, all of us.
I'm
follow
not
the
like a
scales as well. It's going great.
You are you perhaps, because of where you have been, who you can talk to, may be able to put a finger on those scales.
Yeah.
That's our best bet at the
Who you
moment.
can help or hinder.
But that might not be enough to actually flip it, depending on the state of everything else on those scales. If that makes sense.
I do not know what my uncle will say. He will likely take time, a week perhaps, or more, to deliberate, and his decision may change depending on what news comes to light.
That seems really, really reasonable.
I would seek any path that preserves my people without having to extinguish yours.
I think we can both agree on that.
It's kind of why I made my terrible suggestion.
It is not
Yeah.
terrible.
For a second,
It is just unpalatable.
it's unpalatable and it's a bit soulless. But we were sat there with a table full of numbers and a map. And if we reduce it all to numbers, there is a level of, what's the least dying we can manage?
That is what Anusadira does not understand, and my uncle does. It is why she thinks he is a coward, and I can see that he is not.
Well, it seems like the situation we've got here is we know, at least in broad terms, what the post-conflict Sunder looks like if the Orsirians win. But what we don't know, at the moment at least, is what the post-conflict Sunder looks like if the colonies do. If we can find some way of making that a better prospect for your people and all of the Achene if possible, I think that's what we have to push for.
Are there Achene representatives coming to this big meeting?
Well, we're talking to one right now, but of other
No,
nations.
like the big.
It didn't sound like
But
you were
just
invited, I think. Is that your point, Scamp?
Yeah, have
Yeah.
you got an invite?
We have not. We came to observe.
Okay, that needs fixing.
I feel like that we can probably swing, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All of you should be invited.
Yes.
You're all as threatened by this as anyone else.
Yes.
Whether or not you agree to whatever or to be a part of it in any... You should have at least been asked.
Yes, agreed.
Given that the most frequent contact New Altmark has with Achene is from the Yamasaur, who repeatedly raid your settlements, I can see why we were not at the forefront of their mind for people to ask. But I believe we would accept an invitation. I think any Achene nation invited would accept an invitation, if only to see.
If only to get the information.
He nods.
Well, that we might be able to help with.
Yeah. And frankly, the information that we've given you is... well, it's as useful to presumably any other Achene nation. Regardless of what they actually plan on doing with it, if anything.
Then, please, secure us an invite. And if there are things we can do, let me know. You know where we are staying.
Horribly, it's part of the reason I asked what I asked. Because... you know, the colonies have a lot of problems, and one of them is they're all talking about what they bring to the table. I think, I might be tooting our horn a little bit here, but I think we could probably get you an invite if we talk to the right people regardless.
I think
But
so.
I think you might have a bit more power there, as much as I hate it, if you brought some cards. Because the question, horribly, although it shouldn't be, will be, what do you bring then? Won't it?
I will speak with my uncle on this.
Think about it. It's your business.
But you are right.
The question, if you ask for things, is going to be, what are you going to provide? As much as, yeah, it shouldn't be. It's going to be, isn't it? Right?
Yeah, and it's not
Almost
like
certainly.
you need to go, oh, we'll be part of the colonies, and that
No.
it could just be we will have some sort of peace and trade in the future
Yeah, or we will
if we support each other at this point.
Yeah, we will provide mercenaries for this battle, or whatever. Yeah, it doesn't have to be, we're a colony now.
Yeah.
Or even...
No,
and
absolutely, it should not be. That is not an option, really, because
it is a better option than mercenaries who can be betrayed when they're
no, what you should
deal
be is
done.
allies. You should be an allied nation against a common enemy, not a mercenaries, but an ally
I picked something
with
out
a
of the
treaty
air.
in place.
We will think on what... I have no doubt my uncle will have thoughts on what we would
yeah.
want. And he will convey them when the time is right. But we are aware that, yes, we will need to bring things to the table. One last thing.
Mm-hmm.
The Yamasaur that I spotted, was in the, what is the name? Grey Watch Village, just outside the main city. If you are going to find them, that may be a good place to start.
Right.
Thanks for the tip-off.
He gives you a nod and looks around again. I must be on my way.
Leave the invite situation with us. We'll work on it.
He nods and gives you a short bow before striding
I'll
away.
return it.
Yeah, same.
And as you mull upon your next course of action, we shall return after these, no doubt important, messages.
You've heard of Jumpin' Jack's jumper cables, but get ready for Jumpin' Jill's gymnastic equipment. We've got pommel horses, crash mats, parallel bars, rings, pommel horses. Do a triple somersault backflip into the best savings you can find this side of full circle. It's all here at Jumpin' Jill's gymnastic equipment, with a special half-price sale on unitards this week only. Jumpin' Jill's gymnastic equipment. She's been up there for days.
And welcome back. Odanone, as mentioned, slips away, leaving the 3+ pets of you alone in this alleyway where you just had a little impromptu conversation. You have you have the rest of the day. You can decide what you want to do next.
Well, to our oyster. Celestia looks tense. Sort of go, like, really, you know, like when somebody really doesn't want to talk about something but has realised it's time. Because that's the expression. Yeah. We should chat.
Yes, I probably think we should.
In a place where there is a sanctum, we should chat.
Alright, back to the ship then.
Yeah.
You return to the ship.
And the party described themselves walking, and so they walked. One of those, yeah.
Yes, you return to the ship. The whole ship is sanctum. So
It's fine, yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's like,
probably in Corzin's stateroom. I feel that's where we talk
Stateroom,
about like
yeah.
important shit, isn't it?
Yeah.
Usually.
yeah. There, you return to Corzin's
Chair,
stateroom.
drinks.
There's drinks. There's snacks from the galley.
Yeah. Oh, there's like a big drink that happens. And Celestia has just been smoking like a chimney since the back end of that conversation. I need to take over the Ebon Guard, don't I?
Well, someone's gotta.
Yeah.
There's no one else, is there?
It'll be weird if Corzin does it. It'll be impractical if I do it.
If Quilena does
they
it, we'll
wouldn't.
die. So,
If Jeffrey does it, the world's a strange place.
Adran's still not allowed, and also, you know, iffy on the morality. So it's me,
Like-
isn't it?
Genuinely, they wouldn't follow anyone else, though, would they?
I mean, that's like it's a guarantee that they'll follow me, darling.
Well, I certainly think of the three of us, unfortunately, you're the highest probability here. But
How much do you know? I mean, okay, here's the thing, right? I've been thinking about it, and I haven't been talking about it because I hate it, and, you know, I don't want to play any sort of game that my family would like me to play, but I think I might have to a bit. How much do you know about how Drow inherit things? Is that a thing that people talk about up here?
I don't
broad
know how
strokes,
anyone
but-
inherits anything.
Right.
But basically, if you're male, you get feck all.
I mean, generally, but yeah, it's weird. Okay, I should go from the beginning here. So what I'm thinking is, it's all very well and good taking over the Ebon Guard, but in my current position, I have what is it these days? Look at my notes for a second. I have 332 gold, 97 silver, and 3 copper pieces to pay them.
Right, not gonna get you that far.
No. And, you know, I would like to give them a choice of what they do next. If they want to fuck off, that's fine. If they want to help us kill the Kraken, that's fine. If they want to help us with something else, that's fine too. But, with,
Seems reasonable.
you know, the aforementioned a bit over 300 gold, it's not gonna fucking happen, is it?
No, so
Nah, seems unlikely.
if we think of it like they're mercenaries and we don't have the coin to pay them, they are going to find the next best option, right?
Yeah?
Who's the next best option?
I've not finished.
Oh, sorry.
Because the next best option could still be me. But I would have to challenge my mother for the estate.
Oh,
That's how it works.
Oh, I sort of assumed in any scenario where you were taking over, she was dead already.
I mean, she might be after the challenge. That's sort of up to me.
Is there a scenario where you can take over without that?
Yeah, I could win and not kill her. That would technically fulfill the rules.
I mean, is there a way you... There's no way you're going to be in charge of the Ebon Guard without doing that anyway, so...
Yeah.
so is it a
Technically-
duel you have to win?
A duel, yeah. The parameters generally set by the two people, and with my mother, I would guess anything without help would be fine. I don't think she'd have a problem with magic. I don't think it would have to be a duel with swords. But she would also have to accept me as an adult in order for that to be a possibility, which, you know, remains to be seen.
Yeah.
Because Drow are adults, generally between 30 and 40. I'm 31, but their parents decide when that happens.
So really, like in Drow Society, you're the same age as me.
Yeah, sort of. Bit older, I guess, because you're not quite an adult, are you?
If
Some places I might be considered an adult.
I don't know. I don't know what the rules are up here. Bit different.
It varies.
Also, ages are different, so it's different, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you do actually plan on going through with that, then, is there a way to present it so that if she doesn't accept you, she stands to lose face? Because I don't think that's a thing, from what you've told us, she'd ever countenance doing.
I mean, I guess in front of a lot of the avant-garde.
I mean, if it looks like a leader is being petty or corrupt, it undermines them. It undermines the confidence people have, or the fear, if that's how they do it.
Yeah, and I mean...
Or if they look like a coward.
Or if it looks like they're not following the rules.
Yes.
Because the thing is, this is a pretty set Drow society rule. This is how it works. You know, my mother went back and challenged her mother. That's what happens.
So there's precedent.
Yeah. And if it,
Around
the thing
about
is,
the same time?
if it looks obviously like there is an adult standing in front of her saying, "I challenge you," and she effectively doesn't, what is it they call it? Like pick up the gauntlet.
Yeah.
If she effectively doesn't pick up the gauntlet that I throw down, she's going to look like an arsehole. And
Alright.
Jason, correct me if I'm garbling any of this.
No,
by the
this
way.
is that's
Yeah.
a pretty accurate assessment.
Yeah, we talked about it a few weeks ago, so yeah.
Jeffrey pointedly steals a glove off Corzin's desk and throws it on, I guess, the desk in front of you.
Jeffrey, you're not
pick
to
it up and
offer
hit him on the- hit
challenges,
him on the
not
head with
after
it.
last time. You know what happened last time. We're not doing that again.
Oh fuck! I'm gonna have to talk to fucking Sabnet, aren't I? I said I'd sell it to him for a bottle of good whiskey. I can't, can I?
Well, is it...
For the fucking good of
Is it all
this
a
bit of
job
the
lot?
world, I can't.
You can't divide it in such a way that
We can maybe divide it.
he gets what he wants and you get what you want.
Oh, you know what would fucking work, don't you? If we got married, that'd solve everything.
I mean, did you say when
Genuinely,
you'd
that
sell
would
it to
solve
him?
the whole thing.
Well, that's
Did you put a
entirely up
date
to
on
you.
it?
No, we
Did
didn't
you
put a
say
date
like,
on it,
oh,
no.
as soon as I'll get it, I'll sell it to you for whiskey, or can you leave it till the Kraken's dead and then sell it to him for a bottle of whiskey?
We didn't set a date, but we could also just get married.
That is more funny.
Except you absolutely, like Osi, you absolutely can't get married until you can get married in Vegas by Elvis.
Very true. We'd have to like find an if we have to do it for succession reasons, we have to find an equivalent.
Well,
Like we
much
have to
as
find the
I'm
funniest person to marry us. Anyway, back in.
Much as I'm loath to do anything that would plaster that smirk back on his face, is this actually a viable strategy?
What, marrying him or waiting?
I mean, in order that you can more effectively challenge your mother, if that's what it comes to.
I'm really sorry. Which bit do you mean would make challenging my mother more effective?
If you were to marry Sabnet in terms
What,
of
first?
how the in terms of how the succession rules go, how does that affect things?
Jason, please take that. I've no idea, man.
Basically doesn't. I mean, well, actually, no.
Is he just arm
Strictly
candy?
speaking.
Or could he help me with the challenge if I marry him?
Okay, so we are
Because that's genius.
I mean,
we are in the equivalent of marrying. Right, let's go to the equivalent situation. Is it's the High Middle Ages, Europe, and you are and the equivalent, and you were in a situation where you were marrying up, like a duke's daughter. and you are a rich but not noble peasant. That is a situation where marrying Sabnet would elevate you. However, you are the scion of one of the 40 families, and Sabnet is not.
I am Mr. Darcy and he is Lizzie Bennet.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
you are
yeah.
Mr. Darcy, you've just not reached your majority.
Yeah.
Right.
Unless I have.
Unless you have.
But my mum gets to say
Yeah.
whether I have or not.
Yeah, imagine that Catherine de Bourgh gets to decide whether you, as Mr. Darcy, are an adult.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Lord.
Yeah.
Regardless, marrying Sabnet would probably not make a difference in terms of your social standing here. You could make an argument that since only adults can be married, that makes you an adult. It's just...
But I could also be a dickhead that got married on their grand tour, right?
Yeah, exactly. It essentially comes down... Again, it comes down to whether you can... The person that you need to... that you need to acknowledge you as an adult is Nivara, regardless.
Yeah. I have one positive.
Go on.
I think it will be very easy to convince her that Quilena's a child. Because she's pissed her off recently.
Yep.
Also, she's young. I'm 31. Quilena's what, 28, 29? Less, maybe?
Yeah, 23... it's 3-4 years different. 3 years different, so 28.
28.
Yeah.
Also,
And
she's only 28, so she's, she's not even 30 yet.
And correct me if I'm wrong here, but has proven on several occasions already that she can't deliver the goods.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that should be a factor, shouldn't it?
Whereas although I've done politically opposed things to her, I have notably done things. Like in a diplomacy way.
Yeah. Like, you've proven yourself capable.
Yeah.
What if we kill Coelena? That'll prove it, right? No?
I don't know, would it?
You know what? I actually don't fucking know.
Roll a history check.
Oh, okay. No, I'm going to take that back because I might fucking know. 17.
Historically, there is strong precedent for fratricide as a method of proving your maturity in Drow society.
Celestia starts to say, I don't know, like about Nivara specifically, and then goes, no, hang on, there is actually precedent for that. Yeah, that's totally
And
a
you know
thing.
what? It'd be funny either way.
Well, that also explains...
Oh, is that terrible? I'm terrible.
Well, no,
No, she's terrible. Really, really
When
terrible.
she is.
You'd have a stronger case for it if you duelled and killed Quelena, but just murdering her at all, conveys a level, a respectable level of ruthlessness.
Von Dion makes so much more sense now.
Yeah.
If you had actually died there, it wouldn't have been the end of the world for her. It would have been probably a boon.
Directly, because she's the second in line.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if I don't get it, it is her, isn't it? Because Andron's not getting it, because he's a boy.
You did burn down a city. Surely that counts as...
Only adults burn cities.
Oh, I'm an adult now. Hooray.
It wasn't...
I mean, if there's anything she's going to cite with me being a child, it is that dinner party, unfortunately. But that was ages ago, and I've done lots of stuff since then, so you know.
Yeah, alright, it wasn't specifically
Neither of you were there for that.
but,
It was...
so-
it was such a good day. But, yeah, not my finest hour in terms of being a drow adult in society. But... I don't know. I don't know what I think about her. I don't know whether I have to live up to, that particular drow ideal of an adult, or if I just have to prove I'm an adult. Because, I mean, what she did, essentially, was strike out on her own a fair amount, by the sounds of things.
Yeah, well, a lot of what she has done so far seems to be with some, political grand plan in mind. If recognizing you as an adult would serve that political grand plan, she'd probably do it, right?
Yeah. I honestly don't know what the fuck it is anymore, though. Because, I mean, we thought we knew, didn't we? But...
Well, in broad
confusing.
strokes, she wants to survive, prosper, and not be bound to what she sees as a ultimately failed state.
She wants to get
she's
out of
powerful.
the Underdark.
She wants to remain powerful. You know, how do you remain powerful if the society in which your power rests collapses?
I mean, I think... This is a guess. But I think she saw a collapse coming a very, very long time ago, and she's been preparing for it.
Well, yeah.
Maybe she's not ready yet. Maybe she's not fully prepared and therefore has to help it hold off a bit longer.
Maybe. There's part of me that wonders if she's, you know, on the opposing side to where we are because it's the opposite one to Lady Grace, but I actually don't think she's that petty. Quilena's petty. She's different. But she's also more confusing.
Maybe she's just not got her power ready. Maybe she's not strong enough yet.
Maybe.
Does Quilena get her pettiness from your father?
Honestly, Corzin, I really don't know. I doubt it. We didn't spend a lot of time with him, to be honest. I mean, I don't think it's like this up here, but I mean, when you're a drow, you get, if you're a girl or whatever, you get lessons from your mum. You get, you know, you don't get brought up by your dad a whole bunch. And if you're a boy, you spend more time with dad.
All right.
So, I mean, I saw him periodically, but mostly he was fucking about in his greenhouse teaching Adrin things.
Right, well, the reason I ask is because even if that is a side of herself that she hides well and maybe never shared with you, it's got to be in there somewhere. Sorry, we have a saying up here, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
We have a point. Equally, though, we were surrounded by so much of that, you know?
Yeah, I can imagine.
Or maybe Naivara used to be petty, you know, I don't know.
I mean, people aren't necessarily like their parents, I hope.
No.
You have a point there. I mean, I like that version of events where people aren't necessarily like their parents. And again, there was a lot of that in the society that we were in. That sort of pettiness. It wasn't uncommon, you know? She could have picked it up from anywhere. And also, to be honest, she was born like that. I don't know how else to explain it, but she came out of the womb, like, finding spiders to pull the legs off. Like, she was...
Right, yeah.
Like, Quilena, as a baby, folks. It's the same thing, she just can't talk yet.
Right, yeah.
Mortifying.
The point I was making was that it's what side of yourself you're, you know, indulging, I suppose.
I mean, Quilena chose to keep the bit that bit the heads off dolls. Like, you know, it's just like...
Yeah, exactly.
Like, she chose to go that way. I gave that up after a while.
Yeah. All right.
I don't know if I bit the heads off dolls. I've never asked anyone, and we were... You know, the baby bit was probably done by governesses, so whether my fucking parents would even know... Rich people.
All right,
Jeffrey just, like, looks at you. Marjorie.
Yep.
So if you're...
I think Jeffrey likes you more now. I don't know why. That seems to have had an effect.
Marjorie is giving you just like a gimleted-eyed stare.
What does that mean, Jason?
I mean, like... Well, in this case, it's a stare like a pigeon.
Right, cool. Just blank.
But you have this vague sense of disapproval.
I hate this so much.
I understand.
I don't want to play.
No, and hopefully there is a way around this that means we do not have to play whatever game your mother is planning on playing.
There isn't.
Here.
Not for the Ebengard, there isn't.
Then how do you even get close enough to her to challenge her?
I ask. I walk up and I say, Hello, I am Celestia Stardust, because the other name can go and fuck itself. I'm here to challenge my mother. I don't ask, I tell.
Yeah.
The Ebengard wouldn't get in the way.
I was about to ask. That sounds like the sort of thing that tradition and etiquette would be duty bound to respect.
What? I'm going to come out in hives. The rich people party yesterday was a bit much for me. Was it yesterday? A few days ago? The last few days, it's at an unknown point, was a bit much for me, to be honest. And now
Didn't
it's this.
sound like a barrel of laughs.
Yeah, I don't like being that person. But it's got to the point, hasn't it?
You're not. That's not. You're not that person.
No,
You
it's
pretended to be that for a little bit, and maybe you were meant to be that in the eyes of other people, but you ain't that.
It's a thing you can put
You've
on
never
and
been
take
it,
off
really.
if needs be, but it's not who you are or you choose to be.
No. I really hope I don't have
That's
to use my
important to
old
remember.
name. That would suck. Ugh.
Yeah, I was going to say, is there going to be a problem with succession if you have completely rejected their name?
Jason?
It's an interesting question.
Celestia Rothnall.
From one standpoint, the family name is the important part from a succession standpoint. Regardless, from the stance of acknowledging you as an adult, Nyavara needs to refer to you, ideally publicly, address you by your name. Drow society would traditionally acknowledge that as your birth name. It's not as if people have not in Drow society have not taken new names.
It's not as if nobody's ever trans in Drow society, frankly. Or just like change their name for fun.
Yeah.
Changing your name in Drow society outside of being trans, or trans is more often an accolade of honour or achievement in some way.
That makes sense. I would argue that this fits that.
Yeah. If you're at least if you society with a capital S, there's less acceptance of like I just got bored of my name and went to the deed poll office, as it were.
The real question, though, Jason, is okay. Mythical scenario where she actually refers to me as Celestia Stardust and she accepts that's my name and I win. Is it then the Stardust estate?
I mean,
Just say it.
could be.
I mean, it's the Rothnall estate, but at the point at which you are the head of House Rothnall,
I can change that.
you
if I
have the
want
authority to change the
Oh,
family name.
what a terrible power.
Yeah.
Would he be Mr. Sabnet Stardust?
Yes.
I mean,
Oh, fuck yeah. Let's get married right now. Oh, it's so funny that that's come back to bite us and it genuinely would solve the entire problem if I married him. But it properly would. Like, he would just, share the estate. It would solve the whole issue.
Yep. And you hopefully trust him enough that he wouldn't actually do anything hugely terrible with it.
Oh, no, yeah, definitely. Like, we're bros. It's all good.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there is one saving grace if she does accept my name, then it could, once I've got power over it, be the Stardust estate.
Has a nice ring to
that.
it.
I would also be hilariously and lavishly rich, which would be very useful for our fight against the Kraken, let's be real.
Yes, it would, and I'm not going to pretend it wouldn't.
Where is all the money?
Maybe
I doubt
in
it's
the
all in
bank.
one place, right?
In the
That
bank.
sounds too vulnerable.
Definitely not
It
in
is
one
in the
place, but probably in the
Yeah.
bank. Yeah.
It's not in a place where the Drow Empress can just go, oh, it's mine now because you're a traitor. Seized all that. Yoink.
We hate Nivara, but she's not that fucking dumb.
That
I
would
mean,
have been a
again,
thing
Jason corrects
to
me if that
safeguard
assumption is
against.
way off.
Oh, like you
Nivara
have
wouldn't leave her
every
money
reason
vulnerable.
to assume that Nivara believed in distributing and concealing her wealth. I mean, you literally know that she is half of Golden Kratz and Guildenstern.
Yeah, I'm going to say something now. Again, correct me if I'm completely
Yeah.
off. I mean, my loves, I don't even imagine it's all in the bank. To be honest, she's that paranoid. She would have had contingencies for the situation with Lady Grace happening, as did Lady Grace from the other side.
Yeah.
Like, even Sabna, who is a comparative pauper compared to the Rosnells, has multiple bank accounts and money in different places.
Well, that's good. That's reassuring.
I don't want to do the drow things, but
No, I don't want you to do the Drow thing.
horribly, a lot of people's lives suddenly depend on it, don't they?
I know, we just wanted to burn all the Drow things down.
Yeah. Oh, I so need
We
to
were doing
talk
such a good job of it.
to my husband. Potentially my actual husband soon as well, like in a not figure of speech way. I mean, he was up for it when I last talked to him.
Can't imagine he would have changed his mind.
He's
It's
allowed as
still-
many concubines as he'd like.
Good luck stopping him by the sounds of things.
No, I wouldn't dare.
I mean, you would have to ask Vig about that.
Forgot that, yeah. It's a good
Oh,
point.
who's the funniest person we know who could marry us? That's the real question here.
Jeffrey.
Is Jeffrey ordained?
Well, look, if it comes
yes.
down to it, it is a thing that ship captains have been empowered to do since time immemorial.
Could you marry us?
I've not had any cause to do that so far, but yes, it is a thing I am empowered legally to do.
Under drow rules, could Corzin marry us?
I mean, like,
Is the
it's
marriage
a
legally
legal
binding,
marriage.
I
So
guess?
it's as legal a marriage as any marriage that is not conducted under the auspices of one of, the fucking spider goddesses is considered, because
I mean,
literal state religion.
the only other person I could imagine who might be empowered to do it that we know and would be potentially willing to do it is Sander. And
That was
there's-
my second choice, and I think they'd maybe rather throw themselves off the ship, to be honest.
I think they'd absolutely hate the idea. You should propose that immediately.
Well, also,
You could do it together.
There's basically
Given-
no scenario.
You could both play two characters, and we could have a ludicrous, loveless wedding. That's what I'm saying, folks.
There is basically no scenario in which you get married without basically being heretics.
Yeah. I mean, I'm
Given
very
Sander's
much already a
heretic,
heretic.
You're all heretic.
As is Sabnet,
Yeah,
actually.
everyone here is heretics.
We've done a heresy already.
Like, I think that the marriage not being religiously
sanctioned.
canon, kosher, sanctioned, is a given.
Yeah, very much so.
So what you're saying is we need to make Jeffrey a captain or something so Jeffrey can do it.
Yeah.
Because it's already a sham in the eyes of the Drow.
I would like both you and Sander to marry us, and I would like a reading from Jeffrey. I'd like it to be a
Jeffrey
very
can read.
extravagant affair, if I'm honest.
Wait, you've been teaching Jeffrey to read, haven't you, Scamp?
How's that going?
Yep. about as well as you'd expect.
Yeah, I don't know why I asked, to be honest. that was not one of my cleverer moments.
Jeffrey is just like.
Do you expect Jeffrey to
counting
do
on his
badly?
paws.
Jeffrey's doing great.
I'm sorry. I apologise for my rudeness.
I wasn't going to presume at this point. Jeffrey's a one-off job, and we all know it.
Like Jeffrey just starts like counting on his paws. You know the scene. You know that Nicolas Cage scene where he's just reciting the alphabet.
Oh yeah.
I can't believe you just did the whole alphabet, monkey. Like, I adore you. I fancy you so much right now. Like,
10 out of 10, no notes.
Yeah.
The Nick Cage artist, but a monkey.
it was very good. Stunning. Your finest work to date. I'm obsessed with you. That was amazing. One rule that is important with when I duel her. Horribly, you can't help, or it voids the whole thing.
Alright, so...
Yeah, it sucks, but it is part of it. It has to be a one-on-one duel between mother and daughter.
Well, what we have as a...
Can we prep
advantage-
you beforehand?
Yeah.
Would that void it?
Based
Like
on
blessings beforehand, etc. Like, is there? I feel like there must be precedent for that. That feels appropriate, but I don't know.
There's the precedent on that is a bit so. It's one of those things where some forms of society frown it, some accept it. You know that Nivara's stance has always Nivara's stance is that there's no such thing as cheating. There's
Right, so I would know that that's how she feels about it.
yeah.
Okay. Because
But-
that's in my head. That's what's important. Like the rules within the family.
Yeah.
Because
Like-
I bet there are some families that are really nice families that would just be like, "Oh, mummy, it's my turn. It's my time to challenge you," and she'd be like, "Oh no, you've won." Like that'd be how it was in that family. Ours is not like that.
No.
Yeah.
No, like you can tell that from your understanding of your mother, Nivara would consider prep ahead of time fair game.
Yeah.
In the same way that you can fully expect her to like in the event of a duel to carry any magic items.
Yeah,
she
she's
has
got
into
like
the
9
fight.
magic
Yeah.
items on her at any time or whatever.
And,
Yeah.
like, you know, she would consider pre-poisoned blades to be valid tactics and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But knowing her, you know that there's the letter of the thing and the spirit of the thing, and the spirit of the thing for her being broken would be bringing in another person.
Yes, but you could have like
Right.
12 healing potions on you, and that would be
Yeah.
fair game. Cool.
Yeah, and you can't betray your enemies.
Yeah, and you could have like say if Corzin cast like protection from good and evil on me,
Yeah.
she would consider that fair game. Cool. I will like think of a way to say this to Celestia. I mean, she's always kind of considered cheating to be pretty permissible. Like if you brought in somebody else, that would be outside the game completely. But things like, I don't know, that thing you do to little Corzin sometimes when we're in scary situations, Corzin, that spell where you like touch someone's forehead and stuff.
Right, a
can't
little
get
bit of
them.
extra protection. So
Yeah, that
you know,
shit would probably be fine. And like if she pre-poisoned her sword, that would be okay. If I had like 1,000,000 healing potions on me, that would probably be okay.
Yeah, because what I'm thinking at the moment is, if we're here talking about this now and she still has no idea that this is your plan, what we have on her at the very least is prep time.
I mean, the thing is, she's never going to have absolutely no idea that this is my plan at some point. Part of her
True,
is
I
always going to
suppose.
prepare for this eventuality. Because this is literally how society works. She might not be expecting me to do it now, but also, to be honest, I expect her to be expecting me to do it because she predicts these things. That's sort of what she's good at.
You know, a really useful thing to know about her in this situation right now is how much genuinely does she know about you and your recent movements and what's been going on.
I mean, she can't actually see me, but beyond that, probably everything.
Yeah.
At a guess. Well, I think we
So
we
anything
best assume
public,
everything.
it's fair game. can't scry on you, obviously. Can't.
No, but can
find
scry on
you
you
when
too.
you're- True.
Yeah.
Unless we're on the ship or whatever.
There's no
obviously.
reason she couldn't be watching us right now.
I mean, there is because we're on the ship. But
We're on the
otherwise-
ship. This is
I
sanctioned.
mean, trying, though.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, absolutely.
There's no reason she can't try constantly, anywhere we go.
I mean, she's rich.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Just like you have a moment of reflexively like paranoia checking around. Corzin,
Yeah,
all of
I'm
the-
going to stare into the ethereal plane.
good call.
I mean, yeah, we have literally just mentioned this in character, so you probably would,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
You stare into the still world. The world goes grey and chill, and you find yourself sat in a still in the hold of your in the stateroom of your ship, but
Yep.
now everything is cold and grey. And the ship is kind of like perched on a bank of like dry mud, because I think, as we established, the seas are empty in the still world, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And this is going to be seem like an obvious question, but in the waking world, are the blinds drawn?
I think in this instance they would be.
Cool.
Fair.
The blinds.
If you'd have thought of it, great. I wouldn't have done.
Yeah, this is a
Yeah,
question
no.
of would you have thought of this?
We were planning on talking about something we didn't. We wanted privacy.
Yeah,
He'd have gone through all the mundane motions of that, even
That's
if he
fair.
knew the place was sanctumed.
yeah, that's reasonable.
I buy that Corzin is red string enough for that, yeah.
The
Oh,
He
yeah.
literally has the red string wall on the opposite wall
Yeah.
to where the table is.
I don't know if the other two of us are red string enough for that,
Yeah.
but Corzin certainly is.
The blinds are drawn, but in this version of reality, kind of tattered and broken, so you can peer through them. And you can see absolutely nothing outside. Actually, sorry, you can see almost nothing outside. That's a good point. Because the moment you stare out of them, you see dead blackness just beyond. I just remembered that this is a thing. Because seeing into the ethereal plane is a form of divination.
Right.
And the ship is sanctumed, so more than about 3 foot beyond the edge of the ship, you hit the sanctum boundary.
Right.
Right, well, there's definitely nothing in this room, and
I mean, there can't be anything in
nothing
this room.
immediately beyond it.
Actually, is there anything in this room? There is. You can see that there is... Actually, hold up. Let me just check if Sanctum prevents... Sanctum prevents
Okay,
planar,
nice.
ordinary like planar travel going in through.
Yep.
It would prevent arcane eyes. This is correct.
It also prevents scrying.
It prevents scrying. This is also true. What I need to very specifically check is planar travel is blocked.
Yeah.
So the ability for things to get into and out of the still world is actually blocked here.
Okay.
So you do perceive one of those horrifying sort of sea creature slash insect slash crustacean creatures that live in this place, perched on the ceiling, trying actually on the desk, crawled up on the desk, trying vainly to snatch at Jeffrey, but hitting some sort of barrier it doesn't understand.
Okay.
Before eventually just giving up and clambering out the window and through the darkness.
I can't remember what those were.
They're just
They're just
um,
critters, effectively.
yeah, they are just denizens of the still world. You
Fair.
remember the time when one of them reached out and snatched Corzin?
Yes.
and stole him away. We had
a special, yeah.
We had that whole special where you went into the still world
It's been a while.
to rescue Corzin.
I just can't remember what they were. It's been ages.
Yeah, and also released an ancient sealed god.
Yeah, Poppy.
Yeah, Poppy.
That doesn't sound like something we'd do.
We've never
Sure.
done that. Lies and slander.
Not
Twice,
Yeah,
certainly.
not twice.
No.
Not 3 times, probably.
We suck. I love us.
But yeah, they you see
We
one
do.
of the horrifying still world creatures trying to do its trapdoor spider thing, and completely failing because the sanctum prevents plane travel.
It's still worldly business.
Yeah,
Okay.
it gives up and leaves. You see
It's
it
just
pass,
like, ugh. Yeah.
you see it crawl out through the black wall and realize, oh yeah, the boundary doesn't stop creatures in the still world walking into it, but while inside the ship, they can't move between worlds.
They can't, go through.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Corzin is going to think rather intensely towards the other thing. So, yeah, you'd be wise to forget that. And then mentally file away. Okay, so sanctums don't actually stop that, but they don't seem to have any knowledge or interest of us specifically.
It stops them doing anything in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right, and what you will say out loud to everyone is, all right, I saw a thing that was in the other place, but I don't think it was actually anything concerned with us. It's left now.
That's one of the more concerning things you've said today. Well done.
Hooray!
Keeping it scary.
Corzin, as you refocus into ordinary Calcinea, you're just stood up next to the blinds, which are currently shut. You can, I don't know how perfectly you shut them. If there's, if there's like a little gap, you can probably see the pier beyond.
Yeah. He could tweak the curtains a little bit, but what he will say to the others is, well, every interaction I've had with one of those things suggests that it has, as little knowledge or interest of what's going on in this room as the fish beneath us right now.
Okay.
Yeah, and peeking out, you can see there
And
are
he
indeed,
literally could see them.
yeah, you can indeed see the see fish in the mercifully full sea.
Yeah.
People are wandering around the harbour as usual, minding their own business. The most notable figure is the half-elf declaiming, "Warberdale's wieners, eat one." He's got a wiener-shaped hat on.
Yes.
Oh,
Excellent.
brilliant.
Yeah. The same,
As
dead behind
described
the eyes
by
expression.
Sam and drawn by me on a day when we were feeling very silly in person. Like a
Love it.
bicorn, but with a sausage in the middle.
Yeah.
It was Sam's idea, and
It's-
I drew it because
but-
I physically couldn't stop myself.
Yeah,
So,
it kind of subtly makes
It
a
just
W.
seems so obvious.
Yes.
No, but of course, and also will say, I'll tell you the weirdest thing actually in the other place, no ocean, ain't right. Don't like that.
Yeah, that's fucking weird. I don't know how I feel about that.
Ugh, what's it look like where the Kraken is? Is it
haven't
just
got close enough to
flopping
look.
around on the floor?
I've never thought
Although
about
that
that.
does give me a thought. Damn it! I should have. When we were at Squall Island, I should have had a look.
I mean, we'll pop back
Bollocks.
sometime. Now we've been
Yeah,
once,
Yeah,
and
pop
we're
back
not
anytime.
relying on, a tail that a man may have sucked 6 months ago.
That's another thing for another time. But yeah,
Yeah.
he will make a note of that and file it away in his, red string wall.
Yeah.
You have a much fresher piece of wyvern to do that with now.
Yeah.
I mean, things towards this that I can think of. Because the Evangard are getting here in a month, yeah? Less than a month now, I think.
Seems so.
Probably, yeah.
3 weeks.
Yeah, if not sooner.
shit. Let's... Oh,
Like,
God.
They will
Because it's been a week, right? And months are 3 weeks.
Yes.
Because we're in Castle 2 weeks.
Yeah,
But that's
so
20 days.
Yeah, basically the Ebengard are going to be landing, or the majority of the Ebengard will probably have arrived on Sunder by the time the convention happens.
Yep.
Convention, Congress.
So we're going to have to deal with this sooner rather than later.
I should probably challenge her before the fucking convention, shouldn't I? Because
Get it
then
over and done with.
Is she
I can
with
sit at
them?
the table at the convention as the person who controls the fucking Ebengard, can't I?
Yep, that would be a distinct
Yeah.
feather to our cap.
Oh, it's disgustingly soon.
Yeah.
Right.
Right, well, look,
okay, so what do we need to do here? Basically, what I need to do, that I can think of, if you think of anything else, I'm all fucking ears, because...
Well, we're here. Let's put our heads together about this.
Talk to Lady Grace about weaknesses and shit that I might not know about. Also, make sure that she hasn't been using that fucking ring to disguise herself as people this whole time. You know, that too. And, you know, have a chat to her generally about more information about the Ebengard, etc., etc., etc.
Lady Grace will not be returning to town for at least 5 days.
Yes. Possibly investigate that section of Ebengard that we found out about. They were retired, right? Sorry, this is me coming out of character. Were they retired Ebengard in the lodges?
Unclear.
Okay.
Maybe retired. Certain I believe the vibe that the person whose mind you read got was they were certainly in civvies rather than in armour,
Yeah.
to varying degrees, and they had a sort of experienced soldier look to them.
Okay.
Although it is notable that since the Ebengard contract is a century,
Yeah.
and they've only been going for a little over 30 years.
They might be on holiday or something,
Yeah.
or leave, or
Yeah.
that might be the place where they have leave or something like that, or they wait for their next contract or whatever.
Yeah, you don't know enough to know.
Yeah. Might be worth investigating some stuff about that if we can.
Yeah.
Just because, to be honest, it'd be really nice for them to actually want me to lead. So knowing a bit more about them as people would not hurt that, would it? Because they will technically
Yeah.
have to accept my command, but we'll have a better time if I can say things that they'll believe
I
in.
mean, you of all people know, never underestimate the role that morale will play.
Yeah. And the third thing I can think of is pop the question to Sabnet.
Well,
To
that
be
I have
honest.
to leave entirely in your hands, Celestia, but if you think it would help, or at the very least unsettle anyone,
On what?
unsettle anyone. Like,
It's not
Is
about
it a thing
unsettling
that they would
anyone.
ex-
It's about coming to an arrangement with him that still means that I fulfill our bargain.
right.
It's actually
Well-
personal. I don't actually want to leave him high and dry when I've said he'll get in on the estate.
Alright, well, again, it's still,
But I should talk to him
Ultimately,
about it
you're-
either way. Is my point.
yes.
Yeah, you just need to talk to them and say, look, this is going to happen, but first we got to kill a kraken. And for that, I need to
So
do
when
this.
you do, I don't know, would he have any, angles we wouldn't thought of as a person who grew up in Drow society and understands more of the minutiae of it?
Maybe. Celestia just for a second looks posher than you've ever seen her look. Is the only way I can describe what's happening.
Okay.
I mean, his family is not in the same standing as mine. I hate how that sounded, but it is true. He's not one of the 40
No.
families, and it is
For all
a slightly
practical
different
purposes,
section of society.
Yeah.
But he might, I mean, he is better at fucking etiquette than I ever was.
He also knows how to exploit technicalities. Because from what you've told me about how a lot of men are treated down there, they have to in order to be able to get anything done.
You are right. Also, you might have a better grasp of leading units and things, to be honest.
He's a soldier.
I mean, technically I got training on that, but it was Nivara training. I don't want to do it like that.
No, and I think it's all to the import that you don't.
Oh, fuck.
Not that you would, I know.
Can I, actually lead a fucking army?
Yes. Have you
Could
met you?
Yes. Do you want to? Only you can answer that.
It's not about whether I want to at this point.
Well, then the answer's yes, because you're entirely... you could lead anyone. People will follow you.
Yeah.
I'm a dickhead with rainbow hair and my tits out.
Yeah, and people listen.
I think perhaps you underestimate quite how,
Fantastic my tits are.
The rainbow
I was going to
spirit
say
flicks
inspiring
colours
you
through your
Yeah.
hair and your tits.
Yeah, Celestia's canonically split down to the navel shirt.
Yeah.
That if we've forgotten that's ever a thing, go forth and be gay, my children. It's always there. Like it's never gone anywhere. This whole every outfit is just
Like your
Deep
outfit
V.
iridesces with the power of the rainbow spirit for a moment.
just lights up the tits. Specifically.
Okay,
Sorry,
consider this
Corzin. I'm sure you're going to say something actually uplifting. I do actually want to hear it. I'm quite scared. What were you going to say?
what I was going to say is how, genuinely capital I inspiring you have the potential to be in this situation.
Oh, I do have
And-
that loot.
Yeah.
You don't need
Also-
it, though.
No, I don't.
Don't underestimate you.
Yeah, and this is going to sound like I'm stating the bleeding obvious here, but it bears saying I've never met a single person like you. And I doubt very many other people have either. That counts for a lot in a situation like this.
I do stand out a bit.
Just a tad. And we wouldn't have it any other way. But right here and right now, that's an advantage. You're not just some, as you put it, posh twat with an accent and lots of money. You've got a personality, and you are as distinct from the status quo as it is possible to be.
I'm going to be quite different.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if any of them saw me before, this will be quite the departure.
I don't doubt it.
It's just getting them to believe it, if that makes sense. That it's not like a fucking costume or whatever.
Well,
You're glowing. It's a magical costume. It's not like you just dyed your hair and put on a bit of different clothes. You are a different person.
yeah, and when
You're not the person we met all that time ago. You're
That
You've
person wasn't the
changed.
person they met either.
exactly.
They met little lanky Trowlam who couldn't swing a sword. It was a bit of a disappointment.
Now we got glowing Celestia, who also can't swing a sword.
I am still shit with a sword, we can acknowledge that, They're just boring. They're so boring compared to all the other things. I always found them kind of boring. It's just like a stick that you swing around that's sharp. It's stupid. Sorry, I know that you're swords, but they're not boring when you do them. I say, of course. They look great on you.
Jeffrey looks vaguely offended and
Jeffrey,
stabs
please.
his spear in your general direction.
No, Jeffrey, it's a vibe on you. No shit, I find them boring to play with myself. Other people go off,
They're a tool and a means to an end. It's... what I think we need to focus more on here is... Well, look, from your point of view, as someone who has been through the same broad training that these people will have done,
She
what are
flinches.
they... What are they going to want? If they could have any kind of different leader who would do things differently, what would appeal? I know this is a difficult subject, and I recognise that, but this could be the key here.
Freedom.
All right. Well, I think that was pretty much a given as part of your plans anyway.
No, but like good freedom, not just walk away freedom. Like, I'll buy you out if you want to stop. Because the thing is, these people are the people in Drow society who don't have standing or an estate or options.
If you defeat your mother, you'll have the resources to do that. I've no doubt.
Might bankrupt us, but it'd be worth it.
Honestly?
Also, maybe it wouldn't.
Yes.
I don't actually know how much money we've got. And I think I would have appreciated people not pretending it's all normal.
Yep. Well, nobody's pretending that.
Because, I wonder how many of them drink a bit too much. Like, no eye contact with either of you. You know what I mean?
It's pretty much a staple of every military or mercenary outfit I've ever
This
come
is
across.
not every military or mercenary outfit you've ever come across.
No, but I think it's for similar reasons, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't know, sometimes I wonder how they're all doing, And I think somebody maybe asking would be quite different.
Yeah.
Yep.
There will be people, though, who are thriving under it
Oh, yeah.
and who like it the way it is, and that is going to be a hard thing to deal with.
Oh, they existed, yeah, very much so. They were very much the people who found their calling, The Quilleners of this
Yeah.
world. Mind
So
you,
how
actually,
you
how
deal
was
with them
Quillenner
is going
in
to be
the-
a question.
How was Quillenner in her training? Like, do I know? Because we were a couple of years apart and they were kept a
You
bit
were a couple of
separate,
years
so...
apart, but that means that you would have had the opportunity to see.
I can't decide if she would have been brilliant or terrible, and that's kind of your call, really.
I'm actually going to say brilliant. Quillenna, you know what? This I need you to roll a retrospective insight check on.
Cool, because I would have
With
seen her in
advantage,
passing.
because it is your sister.
Yes. Insight. Oh my god, I can't read. That is 15. Jesus Christ.
It's an odd thing to feel, looking back at it. But you think Naivara might have actually gone slightly harder on her
Really? Ooh.
than you. And in spite of that, after the Ebon Guard, through the Ebon Guard, Quillenna, what little you saw of her, did well. And there was a change in Quillenna before and afterwards. For one thing... Okay, so she never stopped being a manipulative evil bitch.
She still bit the head off her dolls, like
Yeah,
when she
that
was a
never
baby.
changed.
Yep.
If anything, that got a little worse.
Yeah.
She was always self-serving, and she became more so.
I bet she didn't like not having nice things.
Yeah.
That would have been a big deal for Quillenna in the
Yeah,
Everguard.
her wanting nice things became even more important afterwards.
Because she didn't have them for like 7 years, yeah.
But Quillenna got smarter in her ability to deal with people.
Right, okay, that was the difference.
The thing she found the thing with that 15. Quilena developed a talent for making people love her. Especially people she could ensure were close to her.
Oh, Quilena went to Mask in the Everguard, yeah. Mask being a sociopath, that is.
Yeah.
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 You know Quilena better than the vast majority of people. You know what she really is.
We were thrown together a lot, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And you know who and what she is. But she made, except for occasions when she lost her temper, she made far fewer mistakes socially after the Ebengard than before it. And before it, this is a thing you would have observed at social events and Quilena's quotation marks friends. Before it, Quilena's attitude towards friends was a bit more like her attitude towards toys.
How much can I play with it before it breaks?
Yes,
Yeah,
and
cool.
much more willing to break, and much less concerned about breaking them. After the Evangard, Quilena developed a skill she developed a close coterie of friends. And when Quilena decided she was done with a friend, you never saw them again.
Right. That tracks. Yeah.
She learned that you get the feeling she learned that if you're going to betray someone, destroy them utterly. She got a lot better at tidying up, but she also got very good at developing a near fanatic loyalty from those closest to her.
Yeah. She observed the fanatic loyalty within the Ebengard and all that
And
sort
learned
of-
how to create it herself.
Yeah, that makes sense.
She doesn't. Yeah, so that is how Quilena did. She's certainly took to the physical training a lot better than you. You know that she is a capable. For as much as she is a prissy bitch, a very capable swordswoman.
Oh yeah, she was always better than me at that. I feel like Quilena was better at the traditional drow things.
Yes,
Like being a duelist.
In
like
some
she was
ways,
just better
Quilena
at that.
Manages to uphold the ideal of
A drow woman.
traditional drow, lady with a capital L.
Yeah.
She fits into that mold far better than you do.
Yeah. She is more recognizably that.
Yeah, she was the belle of every. Uncle Perrin was the belle of every party.
Yes.
Yes.
But she always did extremely well at social parties and gatherings because she fit perfectly into that mold.
Whereas I was lanky and weird and couldn't do those rules very well.
Yes.
Yeah.
There was... You once overheard someone commenting about after you got outed, essentially,
Oh god.
and were due to get sent off to the church.
It's gonna be savage, isn't it? I can feel it.
You once overheard a member of society commenting to Quilena how relieved they were. How relieved she was that the succession problem was dealt with.
Oh god,
And
yeah, because if I'm
someone-
a priest, I don't
wow.
inherit. Yeah.
Yeah, and someone, and someone reliable was going to take the house when the time was right.
Yeah, she's also shown herself up a decent amount lately, which is interesting as a combo. It's who's seen that though. Okay, so how would Celestia say this? Actually, Quilena was pretty good in the Ebengard. Like, she sort of how they were all like indoctrinated, like she sort of learned how to do it. She learned how to make people like her really, really well in like a traditional. You know, she was better at being a drow than I was. People liked her at parties.
Right.
Yeah, I was the weird
Played
one.
the game, as it were.
I got a bit better at it later, but I was never as good as her.
Good.
Yeah, kind of into it these days, but at the time it was rough. So
regards to
the Ebon-Guard might be quite on her side in some cases. It depends how much she's shown herself up in front of them.
Is she an asset that your mother would be able to use to sway the balance of loyalties back in her favor?
Maybe. Not if I could make her lose her temper in front of them.
Oh.
I mean, you've already proven you can do that.
Oh yeah, she's really easy to piss off. But she's also very good at acting when she wants to. I mean, you've got a skewed view of her because you've always had her through me. You know, you haven't seen her being good at charm. But she is.
Then
That's
in
alright,
the
we'll
case
just
of
have to
both
kill her too, won't we?
I mean, that I'd be pretty happy to do, to be honest, with where it currently stands.
I mean, we shouldn't just kill all our problems, but genuinely, the world will be a better place without her and your mother.
Jeffrey raises the spear enthusiastically.
I don't know, I quite like that idea of turning my mother into a pug for Lady Grace. That was my favourite one we've had.
Did you do that?
No!
Not permanently. I'd have to keep renewing it, like every hour, and
Whilst it'd be
All right,
funny, that's
impractical.
quite a lot of work.
Impractical.
Yeah.
But it seems like with both her and your mother, the best situation is where we not only best them, but publicly humiliate them.
Yeah. Needs to be in front of people.
Undermine their authority and their popularity.
Another DM question, I'm sorry, there are loads.
It's alright.
When I've challenged my mother for the estate, technically could Quilena then challenge me and I'd have to accept, or is it just mine then?
Depends whether you acknowledge her as an adult.
No, absolutely not. Excellent. Definitely not. Never.
She gets to be a child forever.
Yeah, eternal child. I mean, she's also 28, so, like, that is actually well... Even if we're doing the, like, oh, we have to worry about the rules, it's actually well within the rules of her not... Like, she's not an adult.
It is worth noting, though, that if you take the estate and then she murders you...
It is hers, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we kind of, like, implicitly do
Yes.
that anyway, to be honest. Like, she's probably going to have a go, isn't she? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, she will have a go at murdering me for the estate, because I'm never going to acknowledge her as an adult, am I? So...
And we better make sure she's not in a position to do that.
yeah, we murder her first. It's nice and simple, really, isn't it?
Alright.
Don't want to.
I understand this is very, very heavy stuff.
I'm just so annoyed that I have to stand in front of her and ask her to acknowledge me as an adult. It's bigger than me at this point, isn't it?
I mean, do you have
Everybody-
to ask?
Yeah, I think asking is the wrong way to think about this. If you ask her for anything, she's going to say no. But if you tell her and then prove the fact...
I mean,
It
if I
can
call her
be denied.
Nivara to her face, I might do it. That's
Yeah.
really uncouth. Yeah. It should be Mother or Lady Rothnell. That says, I think I'm an adult. Do you
It's
agree?
a statement, and
Yeah.
one worth making, perhaps.
Oh, it's interesting. I thought I'd be terrified at the thought of this, and I'm not. I just really don't want to do it. Does that make sense? I'm stressed,
Yes, it
but I'm not
does,
scared of
in a
it.
strange sort of way.
It was always going to come down to this, wasn't it, to be honest?
And I think maybe, and please correct me if I'm off the mark here, but it sounds like one of the big things about this whole situation is not that it's come down to this, but there's relatively few options about how this happens.
Yeah, there aren't many.
In an ideal world, you'd have done this when you were good and ready in at a time where you were in the best position to do it.
I just never would have done, Never sounds nice. Don't want the fucking estate. But I'm not an asshole. I'm not going to let people die because I don't want to. So, And they will, if the distribution of troops how it currently is. The Ebon Guard makes a bunch of difference, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And with that one statement, you've already proven yourself a better person than any of them.
And an adult, Corzin?
Yes.
Maybe that'll
More
do
to
it,
the
actually.
point.
She's going to know I don't want to. She's not stupid. She'll figure out exactly why I'm challenging her. Maybe that'll convince her.
So, that being the case, how do we maximize your strengths and minimize hers?
So now, maybe that's something to think about as we go through the next few days. I'll talk to Lady Grace. I think that's my next move. Or Sabnet, one or the other, depending on who we get to first.
Well, I think straight away you've got is magic that she doesn't inherently. Am I right?
Yeah. No, she's not sighted or anything.
Alright. So that's immediately a thing to bear in mind.
Yeah.
Okay. It sounds like you've...
I was going
reached some
we should
conclusions
probably...
here.
Rather than fine-tune planet, it feels like it's time to move on. Yeah.
I'm going to say we'll probably pick up with these next time. But in between this time and next time, this feels like a natural point to move towards the next brick of downtime.
Yes.
So, I'd like you to have a think about, same as before, a scene and a downtime activity that you'd each like to do. So you can use this to investigate something, to try and, as before, to try and make things, to go on a half week long bender.
What well-timed bender that would be. Can you imagine right now? If I was just like, a bender.
Well-timed bender will certainly result in things happening. Or whether they'll be relevant or not, I don't know. No. And you can all choose a scene as well to if there's a specific person or group of people that you want to speak to or thing that could be done in a scene rather than done over a few days. So just to recap the overall situation, you're now into the second half week, as it were, of this quotation marks month off. You have at the end of the month, on the 7th of full frost, you will there will be a convention to which the members of the 13 colonies, the representatives of the 13 colonies, will be invited. There is also in the city that you know of Odanone, Calcinea, and Anisadira, who are there to observe the this constitutional congress, to which who you have promised to secure an invitation to as well. They also believe that agents from the Children of the Sky, the Yamasaur, are here possibly with nefarious intent, which they have appraised you of. They've also given you information on other Achin nations that are likely to have an interest in what is going on, but they are not able to provide you with the same level of concrete strategic detail that they were able to provide you about their own nation.
That makes sense.
So their intel is a bit more vague on the other groups. In terms of investigating the Ebon Guard, you have, as you've listed, discovered that there is some sort of drow lodge somewhere in the Cotton States, not too far from... I'm just grabbing my map to remind me. Somewhere not too far from Tayhawk, the territory of the Seven Peoples,
So we could double barrel that at some point.
the Achene nation that lost the most from the previous war.
That makes sense.
You also have you've also laid out other elements of that you want to investigate, including looking into your family, contacting the B team, and other approaches.
Yeah,
as
and
well.
some of this is probably going to be together scenes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like us going and talking to various Achene feels like we
Feels
all
like
go.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, as with last time, sometimes the things you did just naturally involved taking the whole party, like going on a wyvern hunt. And of course, you may make magic items and so on, and do other things to prepare in that way. And of course, as mentioned, you have also found a rare location right on the edge of the Eversquall.
Yeah, I think definitely that is going to be a thing we look into.
This is your second of 6 fragments of downtime. So I'll ask you to prepare with that in mind. The story will continue to develop as each brick of downtime carries on. But that is a quest for next time. Thank you all very much for playing. Thank you all very much for listening. And farewell from all of us here at Flintlocks and Fireballs. Fair seas and natural 20s. Our best hope for our land's defence may lie in this due conference. Despite the rifts that can be seen, yes, even through 2 shades of green.
So gather your muskets, gather your spears, we'll plunder the shores of Calcinea. No kraken, storm or spell we fear, so come and sail with us, my dear.